Okay, we're live on YouTube. It's not great. All right. Maria, I'm sorry. Maria didn't run. I booted her. It's late. I got to cycle people up. Someone says, straight white dude? Yeah, okay, LMAO. Yo, I just want to point out, too, and it's crazy. I assume this person's, like, conservative and a guy. Super strange. I talked to Sisson about this. I talked to other dudes about this. Like, there's a lot of people who are, like, throw that as, like, A, as an insult, but B, spend, like, an enormous amount of time thinking about, like, young men in a sexual manner. Like, I've never in my life have I just been, like, chilling with the boys and been like, oh, yeah, bro, like actively been thinking like, yeah, that dude's not straight. What? You know, like what is going on? What is going on right now? I feel like you got to reassess what the hell you got going on. You know? Anyways. Oh my goodness, Beth, thanks for joining the Maori Squad. Hello, YouTube. I started this late, but well, good morning. Good morning, D says. If you're a Trump supporter, let me know. I'll bring you up. Let's have a good time. Let's have a good time, Chad. Yeah. If you're a Trump supporter, actually just let me know. Let me know in the comments. Sponge Joe, Jesus Christ. I was just watching a video of yours. Well, Brandy, thanks for being here. Bro, DJ, I know you're not a Trump supporter. I know you. It's projection? Well, noodle, well. Cam says Bernie supporter. All right. I posted a older millennial video. Yo, Sleepy, what's up? What did he do this time, bro? Someone said Trump spotter. Hell yeah, dude. That makes a lot of sense. I think he meant supporter. I invited you. The trains thing is so everyone else. What? Oh, train. Yeah. I agree, Hannah. I agree. I feel like there's like a lot going on. Jason says he can outball me. I think you asked earlier what my handicap was, brother. I am shit at golf. Okay, there's no handicap. That's not scoreable. But I've been getting better. All right, I got a little swing to me. Wish Harry would debate again. Maybe one day. How do I feel about Andrew Yang? Bro, I haven't heard that name forever, to be honest with you. It was really bad. He was wasted. Oh, my God, dude. Yeah, well. Hopefully you didn't get in a car again. Who did I pick for March Madness? Double tap the screen. If you're a Trump supporter, let me know. Can I debate? Did you vote for Trump? By chance, Tanisha? Yeah, he said all immigrants should die. That's one. Somebody asked me, did I win March Madness? No. Okay. And I actually will say, there's a very beautiful individual in my life. It's that's what I'm going to refer to her as. If you know, you know. She won the goddamn whole thing. Okay, I was in multiple different brackets. And I watch basketball all the time. Basketball's my sport. She doesn't watch basketball. Randomly picked, dominated, won the brackets. All right. I did ass. I came in the middle. Good for her. No, I respect it. I was hyped. I was like, damn, that's crazy. I'm always asked March Madness. Honestly, I picked Duke. I should have picked UConn. I like that UConn team. Yo, Beth, thanks so much for $10 on the YouTube super chat. I actually appreciate you so fucking much. Yo, Kens, I appreciate you. She's just like that. That's right. I've told her about this beautiful individual thing. I think it might have come from you. She thinks it's funny. As a Gen Xer, I applaud young folks like you who are standing up for our country. Yo, can I get 1,000,000 W's for Beth in the chat? $10 on the YouTube super chat. I literally never take that for granted, ever in my entire life. Thank you so much. Can we get so many W's for Beth? I really, really appreciate you. From the bottom of my heart, I don't take that for granted. I really appreciate your support. Not only watching the videos, but there's never any pressure financially. I just do these lives for fun. But it really does go a long way, and I know things are expensive right now. As people know, I say this every time. There's a lot of I take 2 Celsiuses every morning, dead ass. I double fist them. I have 2 every morning, back to back. And doing this, hella expensive. So I usually do that a different way, whether it's Celsius packets, cheaper, or it's just a bigger can of Celsius. Regardless, if I'm, it is weird. I'm an enormous amount of caffeine, which, it's not great. It's not great. We're working on it. Regardless, it helps the caffeine have it. So I appreciate you. Yeah, coffee would be, I just feel like to get that much caffeine, I'd have to drink 84 cups of coffee. Those are good. They are good. They are good. I'm not gonna lie, you're the GOAT, bro. Yo, I actually appreciate you so much. Is that Mason, maybe? Yo, I appreciate you, bro. That's you're the GOAT. There's some dude, 2 days ago, I was walking, Chicago going shopping, and I was walking through a crosswalk, and some dude was like, Chris Mallory TikTok. I stopped in the middle of the crosswalk. Cars were trying to go. I was like, bro, I appreciate you so much. Dude had to get to work, so I didn't get to chat to him. But shout out to that guy who's dope. That's right, Matria. Yo, it's good to see you. Okay, if you're a Trump supporter, I gotta lock in. If you're a Trump supporter, you gotta let me know. Let me know. I was never verified on TikTok, unfortunately. And actually, every time I try to get verified, it says that it doesn't even like. I've never even actually attempted what I learned, because like I like it doesn't even go through. Every time I try, it says the information you signed up with when you created your account is different from the information that you provided on your identification. Please like reach out to support, and then I reach out to support, and they don't do anything. So I'm like, all right, you voted Trump? Okay. Blue raspberry. I like the blue raspberry TikTok shop. I do. Phoebe, what's going on? Oh, you're very kind, Kent. Hello. Hi, how are you? What year were you born? You voted for Trump? Really? Yo, Kendi, thank you so much. Or Kendi, good to see you. I'm sorry. Great to see you. Okay, why'd you vote for Trump? Are we... Okay. Before you go down that, can I just ask, like, really quickly, why do you believe that that's the case? Look, there may be, and I tend to be the person these days who's more on the side of like, you know what, we're in a crazy time. People say like, don't platform this, etc. And I'm just like, you know what, it's all platformed already. We should debate it. But like, when it comes to this issue, why? Like, in chat, tell me if I'm wrong. But this is where my head goes about this. He's scared. Wait, hold on. This is what I thought when she was talking. What is different about that than somebody getting up on my live and going, I want to debate that black people are inherently more violent than white people? I'm not fucking debating that topic. What the fuck? And also, like, there's something about, like, I tend to try to go with my gut, and I rarely just, I'm like, I'm not going to debate people about, like, I'm rarely like, I'm just not going to debate this because it just feels wrong. But it just doesn't feel right to be like, there's like huge groups of people who are genuinely searching. They just want to be happy. They're trying to live their lives and be happy. And I'm going to sit here and debate about whether they're inherently, like, they have this whole life, like just the basis of the idea that somebody would go through all of the effort to transition and do all these things and potentially probably ruin a lot of relationships, friendships with the type of society we live in, go through the medical procedures, just change. Imagine tomorrow if you tomorrow just change your like entire personality, change how you dress, change everything. Your friends would probably be trying to figure out what's going on, maybe your parents, etc. Like, so I'm supposed to sit up here and debate somebody who's got the courage to do all that because they want to be happy, who's sacrificed so much, and I'm supposed to debate with you about whether they did it because they want to assault people? I just feel like I'm not debating that. Like, what the fuck? Why would I debate that? That's literally I genuinely believe, like, I don't see how that's different. I would not debate somebody if they came up here and were like, I want to debate about how black people are like inherently more violent. I'd be like, I'm not debating you. That's not a debatable topic. Go fuck yourself. And I'll debate on a lot of shit. I fucking debate. Everyone, like, people know I debate a wide range of shit. I'll debate fucking vaccines and moon landing and shit. But like, this is shit that I'm just like, all right, nah. I actually have no and like part of it is the platforming, but part of it is also like I just have no interest in debating that with you, especially not as like a straight white man. I'm just like, what am I fucking doing up here? I don't know. And I feel like if you know me, that's kind of like not a hot take for me, but it's like not something that I would normally be so strong about. But I don't know. I'm just like, nah, bro. Hey, I would like to just debate Trump. And by the way, if you're a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I love you. You're amazing. If you're a Trump supporter, you let me know. I'm addicted to energy drinks. I gotta chill. Listen, I respect it. You should chill. Just drink the ones with no. with no sugar. It's fine. It's like water and caffeine, dude. I swear to God. Okay. If you're a Trump supporter, let me know. Eric says, idiot. Eric, you don't have live access. Yeah, Ken's, exactly. Well, what are we talking about right here? Like, even people debating, like, we debate the immigration topic all the time, and people are suggesting clearly that, like, they believe brown people are inherently more violent. And, like, that's something that I will debate because I think that I actually believe that fundamentally that there's a lot of people who, like, don't even understand that they're doing that, I guess, maybe. I don't know. But that's just, like, a whole different thing, dude. I don't know. That's, like, a whole different thing. I'm a Trump supporter, but my microphone is broken. Can we debate in chat? What is going on, chat? If you're no talk, this dude said you're an idiot. I said come up. He said no talk because I drank too much. All right, bro. All right. If you double tap the screen, if you're a Trump supporter, let me know in the chat. Have we all run away? Are all the Trump supporters like, no, I'm not doing this anymore? Or what's going on? What's happening? I will literally drink anything. As long as it doesn't have sugar, I don't care what it is. That's straight up my honest opinion. I have no preference on Celsius flavor. I just pick one random every morning. Hello? What's up, Howdy? All right. Why do you like Trump? Her name's Kamala. And before we go to that, let's talk about how Donald Trump is doing right now. Like, is this... Well, no, you're becoming pretty typical at this point. I mean, everything that, I mean, most people are like, yeah, I didn't expect the guy who like lies more consistently and outrageously to lie to me about not getting in war. And I'm just like, yeah, no fucking shit. Okay. Well, okay. Well, let's start here. Well, listen, I think that, the 2024, well, first of all, are you a officer of the law potentially? If the answer to that is yes, I was just going to say, I actually do appreciate your service. That's all. But to the second point, doing the post-mortem, I mean, I think that there were certainly, I actually think that the flaws of Democrats were maybe less about Harris herself, and I'd be happy to get into that. But I thought Harris was a good candidate. Well, Beth, thank you so much. Oh my God! Wait, bro, hold on. I'm sorry. I just understood why Beth did that. It's because everybody. I'm really sorry, my guy. It's because everybody on YouTube has been listening to me speak to myself, and nobody can hear the guest. Wow, that's really amazing, Chris. You are legendary, buddy. You know exactly what you're doing. You know how to live stream. You know how to be a full-time content creator, dude. You're amazing at it. All right. Sorry, chat. You guys can now hear. I'm actually so sorry. Thanks for the spam, Jackie. Wow. Okay. Listen. Yeah. Well, listen. What? Why at the time? I mean, at the time, my opinion was this: it's Donald Trump tried to overthrow an election he didn't win with evidence he didn't win it. I think he's, he didn't pass much really policy at all in his first administration. He was a convicted felon. I think he was very divisive and lied a lot, as opposed to Kamala Harris, that I think was coming off an administration that from a standpoint of passing legislation, it actually achieved quite a bit, and I think was much more qualified to be president of the United States than Donald Trump. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of proof out there. Of course, based on the possibility. I mean, I know some folks in your live heard it's not a scanner, but yes, I am on break at work, so I'm unable to pull up sources. But I mean, I'm pretty sure you were aware and have been aware of Harris, Kamala's her past job titles and job field that she's had. I mean, you could say that she was better. She realistically she was better than Biden because Biden's health went down the drain. But does that make her the best and better than Trump? No, because if you looked at her past experiences and problems that she's had in the state of California when she had those jobs of her locking up people that simply were BS excuses, that there's tons and tons of proof out there that you can't, I mean, you can't sit up here on this live and lie about that, because that's the truth and there is the truth, and you can either pick the truth or lie about it to your folks on this live. But she necessarily wasn't. I'm going to tell you this now. My family, my past have been Democrats. I've gone Republican, and simply the reason why is because the Democrats are not what they used to be, and that is based on time and history. I mean, shit changes. That's the sad part. I mean, that's just a matter of it. So I had to pick up with one of my best options, and that was Trump. Is Trump the best president and the best out there? Not necessarily. I don't agree with everything he's done. I don't agree with what he's done in his past. I don't think that he's a good model for the American people. But do I believe that he does benefit us in some type of way? Yes. Does he help our country out in some type of way? Yes. I mean, look at the border crisis that happened down south. That was something big. I mean, you have other countries that are in Europe that deal with this, and you could see all of their problems stemming from immigrants. I mean, if you look at, you look at the city of Paris, you look at the city of London, you look everywhere. I mean, it's all stemming from immigrants. I mean, you can't deny that. That's the truth. And I'm gonna simply say it here now. I mean, we may have disagreements and agreements, but the truth of the matter is that the American people have been lied to and falsely been told things. I think both parties right now are terribly terrible.
Okay. Well, let's start one by one. To your first point, I think that you said I can either pick, when it comes to Kamala Harris's past, I can either pick the truth or I can lie, quote, lie to my folks. I think that I just disagree with the premise of how you phrase that. I don't. Kamala Harris, she was a district attorney, and then attorney general, and then a senator for 4 years, and then obviously vice president. As DA, as district attorney, you say she locked people up for all these BS charges. Well, her job description is not to pick what laws she feels like she should, or speaking very broadly for a second, her job is not, oh, I don't like this law as it's written, therefore I'm not going to prosecute it. That's certainly not in her job description, and I would argue would be incredibly, again, speaking very broadly, kind of inappropriate for a DA to do. So that's number one. It's not up to her how the state legislature wrote the law. Her job is, regardless of how she feels about the law, to, as a district attorney, prosecute based off the law. I also think that at the time she was district attorney, she was and you talk about the times changing, she was incredibly progressive, specifically on the issue that you're referring to. And I actually think that if she got any more progressive, and she obviously DAs do have some lenience as to what they pick up and don't. I was just speaking broadly. She was not only leaning on that issue, but also started programs that, for example, if you were convicted, I think it was like if you were convicted of a crime relating to substances, you could avoid jail time by getting your GED and having a job for X amount of time if you hadn't gone to high school. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but at the time, that was an incredibly almost radical and progressive policy. I think that there was some argument at the time that she's again, for the times changing, oh my God, this is like communism coming to America. I think she would have been quickly voted out of DA had she got any more to that side. But again, her job is, people say, oh, she was prosecuting cases relating to, a substance I can't say on TikTok. It's yeah, again, in the early 2000s, her job as TA is to prosecute people based on the law. She doesn't get to just pick and choose what laws she likes. That's not how our country works. So I certainly disagree with the way you said that, and I think she was actually a good DA and had fairly progressive policies, especially as it relates to that. To your second point, about I think Trump and the border. Yeah, I mean, I think that if Donald Trump actually cared about the border, he'd pass major border reform that we've so desperately needed for 20 or 30 years, and he'd pass it through Congress. There was the largest, I would argue, the most intense, the largest reform for our border in several decades under the Biden administration. It was probably the most strict border bill in American history, certainly was. And it was shot down by Republicans at the time, last minute. But even at the time, I was in support of a bill like that. I think Donald Trump has the opportunity to do that. He hasn't done it, and he hasn't done it because he doesn't care about the issue. It's easier for him to slap a Band-Aid on it, sign an executive order. There's a whole different conversation there. And essentially make border crossing zero, which I actually think hurts people for a variety of other reasons, and I think it hurts the United States. I would much rather see actual reform on the border, and I don't think Joe Biden wasn't enforcing border policy. I think that there was a COVID-19 crisis that was difficult to manage, and Border Patrol didn't have the resources. Hence why Joe Biden wanted to increase the resources via this giant bill, and Republicans shot it down. And then to your last point, both parties are pretty horrible. I mean, Joe Biden passed like the most fiscal legislation of any administration in 70 years, a PACT Act. That was a huge reform for veterans and veterans health care. 1.1 million veterans signed up in the first year. The largest infrastructure bill, $1.3 trillion since Eisenhower, giving money to literally all 50 states to go do massive infrastructure reform. My home state of Georgia, spending the most amount of money ever to do some shit on 400 or the Atlanta Highway. He passed a $1.7 trillion American Rescue Plan, which was the largest investment in public education ever. He passed a $280 million CHIPS Act. That was a bill to give private companies tax cuts to build manufacturing plants in the United States to build computer chips. There was all of a sudden companies rushing to build plants in places like Ohio and Washington. Under this administration, we've lost manufacturing jobs for 14 of the last 15 months, I believe, or 13 of the last 14 months. So Joe Biden was better on that stance. So I actually just disagree that both parties are like super bad. I think Joe Biden was impressive. He got a lot done. He showed for the first time in a long time, I think, that you can actually get things done if you know how to do it. I think Donald Trump was far worse. He wasn't perfect.
Gotcha. Yeah. The only reason why I said that both politicians and parties are bad is because, see,
Don't do it to me, dude. Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me.
How should I say it?
Don't do it to
No,
me.
you're good. You're good.
I know what you're about to do. I know what you're about to say, dude.
No.
Don't do it to me.
You may not.
Especially as a police officer, don't do it to me, bro.
No, you're fine. You primarily picking Biden and talking about Biden. See, I'm talking about the main party of the Democrats. The main party of the Democrats, what the Democrats stand on and what they want and what they want to do is not what they used to be, okay? Do you get what I'm saying? So the party of the Democrats today want immigrants. They have different belief systems and different goals than the Democrats back in the day. The Democrats, I forgot what his name was, but way back when the Democrats were very good of what they did and what they believed in, the union, they did. I mean, I'm part of a union too, so I know a lot about it, okay? And the Democrats back in the day were very good, but ever since the Democrats got pretty much swayed and they started changing their beliefs,
Who'd they get swayed by?
That is when the Democrats started going down the toilet. So when I say both parties are terrible, yes, both parties are terrible if you logically can think
Who'd they
past
get
Biden.
Who'd they get swayed by?
Huh?
Who'd they get swayed by? You said they were good until
I have to look at my notes at home because I go on debates all the time. I have notes I jot down for debates. But moving on to the last thing that I want to hit on is that you mentioned the Department of Transportation in a way in Georgia, the state that you live in. Yep. See, infrastructure is pretty big around the entire country.
Big.
So if you want to hit that, my neighboring state. So I'm in the Midwest, and anybody that can click on my profile will see that I'm from Wisconsin. My neighboring state of Illinois.
Well, that's where I am now. I moved. I'm in Chicago.
Yeah. So anybody that lives in the state of Illinois can fully comprehend that our state is going down the drain. See, this is my last point. The reason why I don't support the Democrats is because you have the Democrats funding and allowing illegal immigrants, which I know that the Democrats love fighting on because they're undocumented citizens, they're here for refugees or they're seeking asylum, whatever. But you have undocumented citizens that are seeking asylum into the United States, and these Democrats are funding their hotel bills, funding their stay, their bills. Not only that, but also the voter ID progress. I mean, you look at Minnesota, or no, it wasn't Minnesota, it was New York. To go and shovel snow in New York City, you need to show proof of citizenship, proof of this and that. Yet you can't you can't have proof when you go vote.
So let me
And
start.
the Democrats were very against it. So to put my nutshell, or to wrap my nutshell, and to give you this question is that you support the Democrats that allow undocumented citizens in here,
I don't.
and you allow them
Okay.
to fund their stay here?
Let's start with I just want to. I'll address all that. Number one, I don't think any Democrat is supporting allowing people to come into the country. I think that's wrong. I don't think Biden supports it. I don't think Democrats support it. I
They
think
do.
they don't. Do you have any? Do you have any? Do you have? Can you find me an elected Democrat who says that they support no borders or letting people in the country?
Oh no, they okay, fine.
Well, wait, but before
you live in the state of
before
Illinois.
yeah, yeah.
You
Before,
live in
hold on,
you live in the,
I do, but really quickly. I'm sorry, I literally asked you a question. I'm gonna cut you off, but I'm gonna cut you off because I really want to be able to address one thing. So I'll just hold on one second. I'm sorry. It's very important to the voter ID point. Yeah, dude, like this is crazy. Okay, there's obviously no evidence of any type of voter fraud. And it's like when you mention something like shoveling snow and needing an ID, but not needing an ID to vote. Yeah, like in Illinois, for example. I mean, I moved here last year from Georgia. Okay, in Georgia, you need an ID to vote every time you go and vote. Okay, like whether it's Illinois or it's New York, etc. To register to vote, I had to show up to register to vote. I did same day. I like did registration like a week before the election. To show up to register to vote, I had to provide two pieces of identification, and at least one of them had to have my address on it. Okay, so I brought my passport, and I brought my lease. Okay, my full printed out lease. Okay, and they wrote all the stuff down. It's going to be the same process with New York or anywhere else. Now that I'm registered, okay, I had to do it the first time. I had to bring my identification, had to prove who I was, Social Security, sign all the shit. Now, if I go vote again in Illinois, I don't have to bring my ID anymore, okay? I'm going to have a polling place, and I'm going to write my name down and all my information, and they're going to be able to cross-check and match a signature and say, okay, Chris did register, and we verified his ID, so this is who he is. So there's the idea that you could just show up to vote without an ID ever is just wrong, and there's no evidence at all of any mass voter fraud, and the system that we've had in place has worked forever. And whether it's here or in Georgia, like there should be no reason to change voter ID laws. There's no evidence of mass voter fraud. And if you think about what I just said logically, it would be almost impossible to commit voter fraud in the state of Chicago or in any other state that doesn't require an ID to vote, but obviously requires an ID when you sign up to vote. So I don't see a problem with that. To the first point again, I just don't think Democrats are not in support of illegal immigration. Why would Joe Biden co-sponsor the most strict border bill in American history if he was for illegal immigration? Why would every Democrat in the Senate vote for a border bill that had the most funding ever for border security, for technology at the border to identify people coming over the border who shouldn't come over the border, for the strictest ports of entry policy ever in U.S. history? Why would Democrats all support that bill if they didn't believe in that? There's compromise.
Gotcha. Okay, so to answer your question, and this is going to stem to it all, is that's just a cover up. Okay, that's just to please that's just to please the people. Okay, I mean you could be gullible or not, but that's just okay. That's just the same thing with marketing. Okay, anybody knows that
What are you
today.
Are you referring to the undocumented?
Nope. Just let me finish my sentence. I make my point. See that's just marketing at its tool, and people are very gullible today, and people are very lazy, and people don't do their research. See, you move to Illinois, and you're going to probably know about this situation that I'm about to bring up, but that's just to feed the narrative and just feed the public with what they want to hear. In reality, no, that's not what the Democrats want. You can see the rate, the issues that are stemming from immigration coming into this, or at least undocumented citizens, and the immigration rate. and everything coming into this country, like New York, Minnesota, Cali, and Chicago. So to prove my point, because you asked me a question, hold on. You asked me a question. You asked me a question. Do they really openly say that they support this motive or this situation? Okay, well, guess what? Here's a very recent topic that you might remember, because you do live in Illinois. And funny enough is that I got family down there that say it's terrible, but there was a recent situation which it had to do with a immigrant that came to this country that actually unalived a college student. Okay, unalived a college student, and then you know what the politicians say. You know what the politicians say in Illinois in regards to the situation? They don't say we're sorry. We're sorry for the daughter's family. We're sorry about the daughter's family. We're sorry about her life, being ended. We're sorry. No, that's not what the Democrats do. If anybody that's watching this live, I want you to pay attention to what these politicians say when they unalive an American citizen in this country and what they do. Because in that situation, they didn't apologize or give sympathy to the daughter's family. You know what they did? They went and said, oh, we're going to give sympathy to the immigrant and blame it on mental health, that he had a problem, that he unalived and opened fire on a woman and unalived her.
Let's start.
See, that is the nutshell, is that you have, hold on, I'm laying my plane. That is what fires me up, is that you have immigrants coming into this country, committing a crime, and then the Democrats play the pity card and they sympathize for the immigrants that come into this country rather than the documented citizens that have been born here on the motherland. That is my problem.
Okay, so let's address 2 points here. Number one, I just want to be clear, because I think it's important for everybody in the chat, and as we have these discussions, undocumented people are far less likely to commit violent crimes than native-born U.S. citizens. The U.S. government ran this study in correlation with the state of Texas from, I think, 2014 to 2019 or something like that, and then there was a separate study done by 3 Ivy League professors analyzing data over 54 years that came to literally, it was actually pretty impressive how data works. They came to the exact same conclusion with almost identical rates, that undocumented people are far less likely to commit violent crimes. So first of all, I just think it's important that we not push this narrative that if you're here undocumented, you're somehow more, you're actually far less likely to do something like unalive somebody. Okay. Again, to that point that you just made, you said it's all marketing, and let's take a situation that happened in Illinois. Part of the reason I really want border reform is because I don't know the story directly you're referring to, but I'm going to make some assumptions. Part of the reason I support any type of border reform is because I don't believe that person should have been in our country, right? And we have had a broken immigration system for a long time. And so I think that to passing some amount of border reform to, in my opinion, I would like more legal immigration. I'd like more, it to be to be faster for people to get visas, to be more humanitarian at the border, while simultaneously agreeing that there should be more security and people who shouldn't be in the country shouldn't be in the country. But when you it sounds like this is all based off of, again, this idea that Democrats want this to happen. You say, oh, it's just marketing. It's no, this just sounds like it's how you feel. If we look at Joe Biden's rates of deportation at the border specifically, 18 months, I think I want to say between the years 2022 and 2023. I'm happy to pull this up, but I'm kind of going off memory here. But Joe Biden's deportation rate at the border was almost identical to Donald Trump V1. We could see arrests, we could see encounters, people encountered at the border, and then arrests, and then deportations after that. Some of my disagreements with Joe Biden, although I kind of go back and forth on this, because at the time I think it was much, the American people actually, nostalgic, thank you for the galaxy, I appreciate you. The American people obviously were screaming and yelling that there was a problem at the border, and I think that there was a problem at the border. But I do think in some aspects I certainly disagreed with an executive order that ended up, capping asylum seeking by Joe Biden toward the end of his term. It decreased the rates at the border by 70%. I think I made a video at the time and I said I think that executive order is unconstitutional. And in some ways, I wish that Joe Biden's border policy was different, but it's a hard time regardless. My point being here is that, number one, I certainly don't believe that Joe Biden or any of these other Democrats are soft on this issue. I think they're fighting for some amount of reform that is significantly more humanitarian, like Joe Biden doing things like getting rid of the Remain in Mexico policy that was a disaster and all these other things, because I think he cares. And then simultaneously, we're seeing the largest rise of executive authority in American history, and we're watching ICE deport people without due process, load people into vans in unmarked cars. We're watching them literally assassinate American citizens in the streets and then be protected from investigation from that, et cetera. So it is god awful right now, and anything that Democrats can do or anyone can do to slow it down is a plus in my opinion. The last thing I'd say on all of that is like, it's just weird to me, like hearing how upset you are, and I like how upset you are with politicians about how they talk about American citizens. Like, and I asked the last guest this: are you familiar with Donald Trump's True Social post 2 weeks ago about Robert Mueller?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, so when Donald Trump said,
Eh,
hold on, when Donald Trump says about a decorated veteran who died because he's a perceived quote political opponent, a decorated vet served in Vietnam, when he said quote Robert Mueller's dead, good, I'm glad he died. I'm surprised that doesn't carry the same amount of energy for you as all these other politicians that apparently don't care about American lives. The president of the United States can set quite the culture, and in fact, I would argue if that's not something that upsets you that much, I don't see a reason why I shouldn't be able to get on live and go, like it probably wouldn't make you very happy if I was like, oh, I'm glad, for example, Charlie Kirk is dead, right? That'd probably be like, what the fuck? Why would you say that? It's a horrible thing to say, but like. At this point, Donald Trump is setting this culture now. So it's just always stunning to me to hear, oh, I don't like how politicians talk about tragedies that happen to American citizens. I'm tempted at this point, based off principle, to go, I really don't give a fuck. Donald Trump opened that door.
yeah.
And Donald Trump opened that door. And frankly, if the mayor of Chicago gets up tomorrow and says, fuck you, I don't care how you feel, like I'm going to be like, all right. I mean, this is off principle at this point. Like, what the fuck? What else are we going to do? The last thing I'll say, and then I'm going to let you speak. Moving from Georgia to Illinois, I often have a lot of people come up on these lives who are from the Midwest or from blue cities and say it's a shithole. I just want to point out, Georgia has a $16 billion surplus with a B, okay? We are one of the few states that has not expanded access to Medicare. We have one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the country, meaning women die very often, while the United States has the highest maternal mortality rate in the developed world. Georgia has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the country. Women die while pregnant, while giving birth, or shortly after birth because of lack of access to health care. We have and I mean this so seriously, no public transportation. I have talked to so many people who live in Chicago, from Chicago, and they do not understand the concept of needing a car to live somewhere. It is hilarious to me. Like, you can't live in Atlanta without a car. I'm so serious. It's impossible. It's not a walkable city. There's no investment in public transportation. There's no investment in healthcare. So when I hear people come up and go, oh, some of my family grew up in Illinois and it's a shithole, I come here and I go, oh my fucking God, you guys have public transportation. You have access to reproductive care. Financially, the city of Chicago and Illinois is a dumpster fire, but that's for a variety of other poor decisions that were made for 50 straight years. So there's certainly problems. Like, again, that's a good example. Financially is one in Chicago, but I just always find it funny. It's like, this place is so horrible and we're sending all the money to other people. I'm like, that's hilarious, because I came from a red state where they were not giving any money to anyone. We literally had cash storage, $16 billion of surplus, and we spent it on nothing. Everyone's commute is an hour and a half. Nobody has public transportation. I come here and y'all got there's fucking healthcare, there's access to reproductive care, there's crazy good buses, you can get fucking anywhere here. This is like, all my friends I talk to in Georgia are like, bro, that sounds incredible. I want to move there just to like not have to own a car. That's foreign to them. I've never even been on a train until I came here. So I just want to point that out. It's not all fucking blue cities are falling apart. I'll land my plane. Oh, he's gone. Okay. What the fuck happened to that guy? How long was I just ranting to myself there, chat? That's part of the problem when I feel like we both do rants back and forth. That was bad. My bad. How long was that dude gone for, chat? Yo, my tongue is yellow? This gum turns my tongue yellow? I gotta stop? A while. Wait, was he actually gone for a while? Bro, my bad, chat. 3 minutes? Oh my, bro, y'all didn't stop me? And then you guys, my bad. Y'all didn't stop me? And then everyone in the chat's like, what the fuck was I supposed to do? What the fuck was I supposed to do, Chris? Fair. My bad, chat. I didn't even realize he was gone. I didn't realize. We tried. Good speech. Thanks. Oh, man. Oh, Joey Biden, bro. What a fascinating world we live in. Love you, Chris. Oh, my gosh. Dark Sunray. A member for 1 month. I think maybe you sent him a member. Thank you so much over on YouTube. It's good to see you. With white Christian nationalism being encouraged, would you debate about separation of church and state? Matters more than we think. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great take there, Dark Sunray. Can we get some W's for Dark Sunray in the chat? I actually appreciate you a lot. I would love to, dude. Someone comes up here and fucking hits that shit. I'll do that. Good to see everyone. Appreciate all the love. Can we get some W's for Dark Sunray in the chat? No way. Harry's texting me. We love America. Wait, I was about to. Oh, yeah. All right, chat. Thanks for being here. Double tap. I can't believe it's 1 a.m. All right, we'll keep going. We'll keep going. Yo, Jessica, thanks so much for $5. I actually appreciate you so much over on Venmo. That means a lot. How do you stay calm with these idiots who understand nothing but say it with their whole chest? Yo, can we get $1 million for Jessica in the chat? Actually, genuinely, $5 goes a long way. There's stuff, Venmo and PayPal in the link in my bio, but never any pressure. Truly, I just do these lives for fun. As I say on my YouTube video sometimes, well, I don't know why it's fun. Well, I don't know why I find this fun, because I'm fucking psycho. I'm a psychopath, dude. People, they're like, what did you do last night? I'm like, I took care of my mental health and I debated Trump supporters. It hurts, dude. It hurts my soul sometimes. I'm just like, what is going on, bro? What the hell's going on? Jay, can we get $1 million for Jessica? I actually really appreciate you, genuinely. All right. We're going to let up another Trump supporter. It's my guy, J-Dog, dude. Look at this guy. Emma, good to see you. Hello?
Yo, man, it's crazy how Republicans cry about like the immigrants killing people, but all they do is send thoughts and prayers when the little kids are murdered.
Dubs, can we get $1 million? Can we get $1 million W's in the chat for J Dog? Can we get $1 million W's? Can we get $1 million W's in the chat? When you get $1 million W's,
so crazy.
It's always
so crazy to me.
It's always pick and choose for the political issues. Hundreds of kids can die from guns. All thoughts and prayers. We can't do anything. But then when it's politically convenient, that American lives are being lost. When it's politically convenient, they'll mention it. Yo, I fucking love you, Jay. You're a dog.
I appreciate what you're doing, brother.
Yep.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks,
keep
man.
up the good fight.
Thanks,
and,
man. I appreciate
I'm
you.
gonna keep watching.
All
Thank
right,
you,
dude. Thank you. Have a good night, man. Yo, W's Jay. I fucking appreciate you. I kind of didn't know what was going on. I don't know if my guy was in the shower. He probably wasn't in the shower. I think he was just like a fan. But I was like, yo, what's going on? And then my guy started cooking with some gas. Suzanne, I send my grandkids your clips, $2 on the YouTube super chat. Yo, that's great. Can we get $1 million for Suzanne? I fucking love you. You're so amazing. Thank you so much. Tell your grandkids I love them. And I'm sure you're a great grandmother. I actually love you. You're amazing. I've talked about this a few times, so people might know this. Genuinely, I really appreciate you. $2, it goes a long way. I don't take any of it for granted. I don't take any of you for granted. I hope you know. I hope you know. That's right, Kate. That's right. Exactly. We literally committed a war crime. 176 schoolgirls in Iran. No one cares. I actually really appreciate you, Kate, and thank you again, Suzanne. My grandmother, Trump supporter, big one. All right, it's okay. Almost 90. It's all right. She's a very loving woman, and she cares about me. And she'll call me and text me. And she'll be like, I'm really proud of you. I'm proud of what you're doing. I don't always agree with you. We keep it civil. We don't really talk politics. I mean, she talks to me, and then I just nod my head because I don't want to, whatever. Very, very kind. But I said this before. She texted me on maybe it was Christmas or my birthday. Or the last time she texted me, and she was like, Chris, I'll be honest. I'm so proud of what you're doing. I watch your TikToks every day to make sure you're doing okay. Because she kind of is like a lot older, so she wants to she's not very good at the phone. But she goes, I watch your TikToks every day to make sure you're okay, but I'll be honest, I turn the volume all the way down because I don't want to hear what you're saying, but as long as I can see your face, I know that, you're my grandson's alive. And I'm like, man, it's actually really kind, Grandma. That actually makes me smile. I appreciate you. I try so hard to get them to turn off Fox News. They won't do it. They will not do it, dude. I swear to God, they won't do it. They saw me on Fox News. That's the first time they started to understand, because they're 90. So they were like, oh, Chris has a blog. I'm like, yeah, something like that. And then fucking Jesse Waters was playing my TikToks and making fun of me during the election. And then Grandma had to make the phone call. She was like, what's going on with my son, with my grandson? I said, Grandma, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Grandma. I love you. Actually, Grandma W. Can we get some Grandma W? My grandma and grandpa are great people, man. They try. They're good people. They're good people. They are. Hello? How old are you?
How's it going?
Good.
I'm 20.
Are you
My name's Davin.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a Trump supporter.
Okay, Davin the Trump supporter, 20 years old. Why do you like Trump?
So, this happened to me when Biden was president. I'm not saying it was Biden's fault, obviously, no. I'm just talking about how everything's ran. So this girl told me that she was gonna off herself, and I went to her house, and she was there seasoning ODing, and then I ended up fucking her dead body because I.
My God, bro. Whoa. Here's the thing, bro. I'm gonna be so real with you. I'm gonna be nah. I'm gonna be so real with you. Like people watch trolls on my thing, and I always laugh. Like I laugh at people who make dumb jokes, people who make like inappropriate jokes. That shit. What the fuck was that, bro? That wasn't funny. What? Like that was not like. Come on. And yeah, bro. I'm easy going with shit like that. Like I'm easy going. People come up and do dumb shit. That was not funny, bro. All right, bro. All right. If you're a Trump supporter, let me know. Just looking for Trump supporters right now. Maybe easiest if you come up in the chat. Sorry about that, YouTube. Sorry about that. Apologies. That was strange. Hello.
Yo.
How old
good.
How old are you?
19.
Why do you like Trump?
I think I like Trump because his policies mainly on illegals, getting them out of the country. Because I've had a lot of problems in my life with immigrants, especially on the road. And when I'm driving down the street, they like just do a lot of shit that irritates me. So.
All right, bro. Hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great.
How old are you?
26.
Amazing, great age. Never been a better age.
What?
Why? I said it's a great age. Never been a better age. Why'd you vote for Trump?
Well, during COVID, I thought it was unnecessary for people going all over the street, looting stores, damaging government property. A lot of those people weren't getting locked up. That was a kind of wake-up call for me for crime. Thinks Trump is big on crime, justice, and things like, well, just Republicans itself. And you not agree?
I think the first. I'm gonna take a cheap shot, but it's always like the first thing to like you did vote for a convicted felon. So it's always like just like that's. I feel like that gotta get that one out of the way. I always kind of chuckle with the whole like hard on crime thing, except for the president of the United States who's like a convicted felon. But whatever, it's fine. I mean, how do you think he's doing right now? I mean, I tend to also ask, like, and that might be why you voted for him, which I'll get to in a second, but also, like, no new worst president, regime change, war, golden age of America, economy fucking blows.
Well, I'm just saying that, Biden would have never went to war. There's a lot of problems going on in the Middle East, even under Biden.
Okay, but wait, did you believe that, obviously Donald Trump ran on the whole, like, I'm a master negotiator.
Well, he's a liar. I would agree on that. So yeah, sure. I mean, politicians lie all the time.
Yeah, I think Donald Trump lies two things. Donald Trump lies so much more than any politician ever. I don't even think it's comparable. But also, like, that's his whole selling point. His whole selling point is that he's not a politician. He's not other people. He's not deep state. He's Donald J. Trump, and he can get it done. So I feel like it's pretty correct. I mean, that's part of why we've seen the poll numbers and some of the MAGA bleed off. It's pretty hard to be like, look, I don't have a foreign policy plan. I'm just not a fucking idiot. So I can make one phone call and bring us peace like I did and then get in and like usher in chaos.
Peace with who?
I'm just reiterating his own words. I mean, that was like his entire selling point. It's like, my point was that it was not, oh, I have a foreign policy plan. It was Biden and these people are so incompetent. They're leading us toward World War III. Get me in. And I'm Trump. I'm not them. I'm not the warmongers. I'm not the neocons. I make phone calls and negotiate, and you will have peace with me. There, quote, will be no war with Iran. I think J.D. Vance said that. Well, I'm not doing endless wars. I'm not doing regime change wars. So, I mean, yeah, you definitely just did the opposite of that. Yeah.
Okay, sure. I mean, I'm more of a supporter of the Trump administration and just Republican values in general. I want to know
what are Republican values?
Well, they stand for life. They're against they're anti-abortion.
Okay, let's pause right there. They're for life. So like, and I genuinely mean this. This is not me trying to be disingenuous. But like when I hear that Republican, like I think you can be a Republican. I actually do not believe you can be a Republican, an actual Republican, or you can't be a conservative and support Donald J. Trump. I think there's no way that he espouses.
Well, his character, yeah. I mean, his character, yeah, he's a terrible person.
Well,
sure.
okay, but obviously, like his character plays into the type of things he does. Like I think a good example of that is he's a raging narcissist. He only cares about himself. Hence why he tried to, I don't know, overthrow an election he didn't win with evidence he didn't win it. He's a raging narcissist who cares about power. Hence why we've, again, conservative values, small government. We've seen the largest expansion of executive authority in American history. So those two things, but also like even when you start with something as basic as pro-life, like 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump is sending out true socials wishing, I'm glad Robert Mueller's dead. I'm glad he's dead. It's like, that doesn't seem like a guy who's very supportive of.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad Republicans.
But like that's not. But that's my point. It's like that's not a Republican. That is the president of the United States. So like you see how like those two things that I just said, they cannot exist at the same time. It's like you either believe what you just said and you're a Republican who hates Donald Trump because he's not a Republican, or you like Donald Trump because you don't like have conservative values. I just don't see how those two can exist at the same time. You can't be like, oh, I care about life, and then when I'm like, yeah, he's wishing death on people, or he's glad people are died, he's a horrible person. You're like, yeah, some people are bad. It's like he's the president.
With people on the with Democrats when Charlie Kirk was assassinated straight up, people were pretty happy about it.
Can you no? But this is where like I'm gonna get frustrated because like the bar for president of the United States is in hell. Can you name a single elected Democrat who said anything negative about Charlie Kirk dying? We're comparing the Republican, the president of the United States, the Republican nominee to what? A bunch of random people. I know for a fact you're talking about random people on the internet because not a single elected Democrat said anything like that. Why are we making that comparison? Why is the bar for president of the United States kids on TikTok it's like, oh, I'm going to compare Donald Trump's actions to kids on TikTok.
Okay, if you want to replace Trump with someone else, that's fine with me as long as we have the policies of Trump.
So what policies? What policies are those?
Again, so one of the biggest things that affect Americans, everybody together, would be undocumented people should leave. Right? If you're not documented, why are you here? How did you get here? It's a problem. I'm not talking about immigrants. Immigrants are fine and welcome to come. If you're on a visa, H-1 visa, J, whatever, however you came, that's fine. But walking into the country, I mean, that's a problem, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's. I mean, I don't believe that Democrats, any politician, quote, supports illegal immigration. I think the issue is that like how we phrase what should be done is like significant.
Well, they tend to politicians like votes, and if you're gonna get free votes, I mean, why would they not want them here?
Okay, that's
how you win on.
That's suggesting undocumented people are able to vote in federal elections.
Yeah, in some states, yeah, they have no ID.
Well, okay. Well,
and not only that, I want to tell you something.
Hold on a second. There is not a shred of evidence of any voter fraud. Like, and for the record, Donald Trump spousing on this, like obviously in 2020, he sent a mob of his own supporters to the Capitol who beat police officers over the head. 4 of those police officers, I'm positive you don't know the names of, they would end up being all alone by themselves and taking their own lives from the PTSD and the stress because the president of the United States, sent a mob of people after them and they swore an oath to protect, but then they were, MAGA was like, you're part of the deep state. They went through this super traumatic event, then people came after them. So, they had wives and kids and stuff, but they sat alone by themselves with nowhere to turn and took their own lives. So I'll let you sit on that for a second. But also, along with that, like Donald Trump's own DOJ, his attorney general, his children, his chief of staff, there's not a single person I think you could name in the White House who was telling Donald Trump, based on all of the testimony we have under oath, that there was any evidence of voter fraud. In fact, they were all telling him the exact opposite. So there's no.
You're saying the first election, or the first time?
I'm saying in 2020, yeah, there's no evidence of election fraud. But even
I'm not talking about that. Well, they were claiming other things. They were claiming like dead people voting and
undocumented people can't vote. Like states with no IDs. Like I don't know if you heard my last guest when I went over this, but yeah, states with no ID. Like it's impossible. It's practically impossible to commit voter fraud. I
don't understand. Like where I live, when I voted, they didn't ask me for my ID.
Okay, so how'd you register to vote?
I don't remember. I think I went online.
Right.
Probably went online. I mean, I never did.
Right. Don't remember is important. What state do you live in, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in New York.
Okay, you're in New York. So New York's very similar to Illinois. I just moved to Illinois. So in Illinois, you don't need an ID to vote. You can just show up, sign your name. But since I just moved, I registered. And just like New York, you do have to have an ID. You do have to prove your identification and where you live the first time you register. So for me, I had to go show 2 forms of ID, and at least neither of them actually had to be an ID. I don't even have an Illinois ID.
I never registered. If I did, it would be online.
Okay, wait, you did? Did you grow up in New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, then you registered when you got your driver's license. It's automatic.
Okay, you do know that anyone could get a driver's license in New York as long as you have permanent residence, birth certificate.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you don't need a social security number to get a driver's license.
Okay. Well, obviously, like 2 things. Number one, and I'm also not suggesting that just because you are able to obtain a driver's license means that you are able to register. I'm just saying that most people who do meet the qualifications to also be a voter will be automatically registered when they go to the DMV and get a license. And if you are not automatically registered, again, just like in New York, in Illinois, now I can go vote and I don't need an ID. But when I just voted a few weeks ago in a Senate race here in Illinois, and I had to show up with 2 forms of identification in person. At least one of them had to show my address. I showed up with both a passport and a lease, and I had to fill out all this documentation and then do it. It's the same as New York. There's just
You could do that. I don't understand. I mean, are you providing a social security number? I mean, that's the hardest thing to get.
well, actually, I mean, by your logic, no. I just want to point out undocumented people can't get social security numbers. But
How are they going to do that?
to work and do other things? I mean, the social security.
How are they going to get a social security number? Undocumented people cannot get a social security number. What does that mean?
They absolutely can. You can apply via the federal government. You can apply for social security numbers that don't allow you to vote, but allow you.
How can you apply for a social security number?
You can go. You can literally go online and, like, for example, some social security numbers will say, like, it'll be a social security number and it says not eligible to work, meaning you're in the United States, you're not a citizen, but you're on a visa and you're not eligible.
But then you're documented, so you're documented.
Right, but you're not able to vote.
I'm talking about undocumented people.
Okay.
Undocumented people could go to the DMV, provide an electric bill, provide bank accounts. No, I'm not making this. I mean, if you have anything in front of you,
but you are making. I just went over.
I'm definitely not making it up.
Okay, now you're talking about the DMV. So yeah, you could go and get a driver's license. I'm not sure about the state things, but if you are undocumented, you cannot register to vote. It's not possible.
And what did you get? You get a driver's license, just like you said.
Okay, but a driver's license doesn't give you the ability to vote.
You just said you need a driver's license and a form of address for 2 documentations.
Can I, before I continue down this line, I feel like it's way easier to just go, because it's fascinating how just easy this is. Millions of people can do it for Democrats. You don't have a single shred of evidence, and Donald J. Trump doesn't either. Do you have any evidence? Can you even name one instance of this occurring that you know of?
For example, where I live, people don't even speak English and are
okay. No. What the fuck?
You don't speak English.
That's amazing. You can't tell somebody's you can't tell someone's fucking immigration status based off if they speak English. Let's try it.
They speak anything. They speak no English.
I don't give a fuck. Let's try this again. Do you have any evidence? Not your anecdotal. Not I saw a brown guy who didn't speak English. Do you have any a shred of proof? If this is so easy to do, it's stunning to me that there's not even like a literal, not a single shred of like, look, Chris, look at this thing that was proven in this state with this many people lining up to do it. It doesn't exist.
But you're able to get a driver's license.
Okay.
Like what you said is the first step to register, so it's not a problem.
Okay, it is a problem because to register to be a voter, you have to be a U.S. citizen. And you may be able to get a driver's license in some states, like New York. If you're not a citizen, you are going to be stopped because you're not going to, even in that driver's license. I assume if you give over a driver's license, type in a driver's license number, I could make a quick assumption, I'm not sure this is true, that those driver's licenses would say somewhere on them possibly not a U.S. citizen. There's going to be there's processes when you sign up for these things that are going to stop people who are non-citizens. And if that wasn't the case, you would be able to provide me even a single example of, at any scale at all, undocumented people voting in federal elections. You can't provide it because it doesn't exist. It does not happen. It doesn't happen.
All you're just saying it just can't happen because you're saying there would for sure be a red flag.
No. I'm telling you it can't happen and you have no evidence of it. So if you would like to debunk me as opposed to all this anecdotal stuff for something that has been debated ever since the President of the United States screamed into a microphone about it in 2021, January 6, 2021. It is now 2026. It's been 5 years. I don't think we should. I actually believe this conversation is pointless unless you can show me even a shred of evidence of this happening. But Donald Trump hasn't provided it. His own DOJ hasn't provided it. Now he's in the White House with all these loyalists. None of them have provided it. And so I don't give a fuck about any of the anecdotal.
I really want to know how this got to life. You said that, something that I stand with is Republicans are pro-life. You were saying that Donald Trump is anti-life, narcissist, and really just cares about himself.
Do you believe that to be true?
Some of it, yeah. He's definitely a very narcissist type of guy. I think he has a bad character, lots of history with women.
Do you think? Okay. I mean, obviously,
there's public
him wishing
information.
death on the decorated Vietnam vet, or saying, "I'm glad the decorated Vietnam vet died of old age. I'm glad he's dead because he investigated me." Just like, what is the red flag for you as a so-called conservative?
Well, again, it's the policies of the Trump. If you're going to say everyone in the Trump administration is writing bad policies and
what
bad for America,
policies?
Bills.
What bills? Donald Trump has passed less legislation up to this point of any administration in the last 70 years. What bills? He's got he's got the House, the Senate, and the presidency, as he calls it, a mandate. So go ahead, start listing them because I know them. And it's less than any administration in 70 years.
Okay. Immigration, I guess, is something you don't want to talk about. What are you about the war in Iran? You don't support that?
No, there's no justification for that.
No. Do you believe that Iran was enriching uranium to 60%?
Do I believe that they were enriching? I mean, I think that they've been trying to enrich uranium for a long time. I don't believe that there was.
Well, above.
Sure. I
20%,
don't believe that there's evidence of that. And
well,
actually,
there is evidence of the Atomic Energy Agency that monitors the radiation levels around all the countries has said it, and you can go look it up.
Okay. Well, wait. Before you do look that up, I feel like a more important question, really quickly, is: did Donald Trump's success? I mean, Donald Trump's quote here, quote: "I sent their nuclear program back a generation from a B-2 bombing raid, 6 months ago." So, was that a success or a failure?
Well, it was not it was part of some work being done.
I just need all I'm begging for is some amount of logical consistency. If Donald Trump says we bombed we set their nuclear program back a generation, it was a massive success, and now we are engaging in a war where dozens of U.S. troops are dead because Donald, do you believe that they were 2 weeks away from acquiring a nuclear weapon? Because that's what Donald Trump said, his first time out when this current conflict started. So now
I believe they probably already had it to some extent. If they were enriched to 60%.
Okay, so you believe that they were imminently about to get a nuclear weapon. So the B-2
probably a small stockpile of it, yeah.
Okay, so they were 2 weeks away from getting a nuclear weapon.
They probably already had the nuclear.
Okay, so then the B-2 bombing raid was Donald Trump was either lying or was wrong about it, correct?
I mean, you don't believe that in Tehran and had stockpiles of incinerators and
I'm not. It's not about what I believe. I'm asking you I'm trying to understand your timeline of what's occurring, and I'm just asking very basic questions. I'm making what's the word I'm looking for? I'm deducing. You just
summarizing.
Yeah.
Summarizing,
well, you just made a claim that it's because they're 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon, or they have it, or whatever.
No, I didn't say that. I asked you if you made that claim. I asked you.
No.
You believed that if Iran was enriching uranium to 60%.
I don't know, and let me explain why this has no justification. And the reason I ask all these questions is we come on the heels of Donald Trump bombing Iran. Bombing Iran and saying their nuclear program sent back a generation. When this current conflict starts, the first words we hear from Donald Trump about it publicly are they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon, which immediately raises confusion for me. But more confusion than that is we heard from Donald Trump 2 days after. All the other administration officials before that did not mention a nuclear weapon. Marco Rubio originally didn't mention any strikes and said Israel was going to strike, and so Donald Trump had the strength to do it with Israel because he knew there'd be less casualties. He walked that comment back the next day. You had other administration officials saying there was no nuclear weapon threat, but we had evidence that they were going to strike our allies in the region, aka a ballistic missile threat. The Pentagon then briefed members of Congress and told members of Congress we had no evidence of an imminent ballistic missile threat. And then Donald Trump came out and said that they were, quote, 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon. So all of them, if you solely went off what the administration said, it is the most incoherent, impossible thing to keep up with. So I've talked to a lot of people about this. Everybody has a different answer for me. I'm just trying to understand yours about if you believe that they had the enriched uranium. Then my immediate question is, okay, you then must hold.
Even if it wasn't 2 weeks, let's say it was a year, that wouldn't bother you?
No, wait, hold on a second. That would be that is not a justification in my mind, not even close. And for most of the American people, I'm sure, of an imminent strike. No, definitely not. A year, they've probably been anywhere from 1 to 5 years away from enriching enough uranium. But that's why for the last 50 years, the United States has had different policies on this and has had even covert operations around this. But I don't think that there's any justification for an imminent strike unless they are about to obtain a weapon.
So you're going to wait for them to be ready to build it?
Wait,
and
that's what every administration has done. Obama built an entire Iranian nuclear deal around this. Trump V1 in the first administration was, engaging Iran. I mean, he ripped up the program, but he slammed sanctions on them, and we were trying to, figure out if they still had, if they had the capacity. But yeah, that's what every administration has done. In fact, under Barack Obama, and this has never been confirmed, but I think it's almost.
I don't really know what you mean. Every administration has allowed Iran to build nuclear weapons?
No, every administration has not held. No administration has held the saying that Iran is potentially a year away from a nuclear weapon is not a justification for an imminent strike, is the point I'm making. And the other point I'm making is that every administration has known to some degree that Iran is attempting to create a nuclear weapon. There was only.
After Obama, you had maybe Iran was able to. I'm not really sure what you're talking about. You're talking about Obama administration and Biden. That's two. So what do you mean?
Sure, and Trump won, and before that, but
what?
I just want to. What I don't understand what's.
Well, there's just two administrations, Biden and Obama,
and Trump V1. Why did
Trump allows it? So Trump, the first thing he did when he came into office in 2017
was rip it up. The point I'm trying to make here is that it is, again, not a justification, not even close to an imminent strike where children are dead, missiles are going through schools, and dozens of U.S. troops are dead. They could have a nuclear weapon, as now we're saying, in potentially a year. And the reason that is just look at what's happening right now. Right now, I think we are closer than ever to walking away from this situation in a worse position than we started it in. I mean, the Strait of Hormuz is closed, so it's an incredible short, the largest.
Partially closed, not all of it.
It is the most intense short squeeze of oil we have ever seen in American history.
It's mostly just.
Can I please finish speaking? It's the most intense short squeeze, energy short squeeze we've ever seen, and we already have countries in South Asia who have limited their work weeks to 4-day work weeks. We have European countries now limiting showers and ACs, etc. It is more of a shock in terms of the global oil supply than COVID, and that was certainly the most intense at the time. So the Strait of Hormuz is closed. So there's an
partially enclosed. You make that very clear. It's open to many countries like China, Japan.
It's totally
India, Pakistan.
It's the oil coming out of the Strait of Hormuz is like 95% down. It's closed. Okay, that's why we're seeing gas at $5 a gallon, and $5 a gallon, and oil heading toward $175 a barrel. You'd assume. The thing is about this is that the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Iran's regime is still intact, and now we're in a situation where I don't know. I think that it's not off the table. I certainly think it's at this point a coin flip that Donald Trump will initiate a ground invasion, which I don't know how you feel about that.
My end goal is to prevent as least casualties as possible. Just because people in Iran are not Americans, I still care for their well-being.
So then what is the goal? So the goal of this is to prevent them from getting a nuclear weapon. I just feel like we have to go.
But as an American, I don't know. I don't want to interrupt you.
I just feel like this is starting to frustrate me because we're being disingenuous. This is not a situation where it's like, oh, Chris, would you be accepting if they had a nuclear weapon in a year, or if this or this? Explain to me in the most simple terms, why Donald Trump said that they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon. If we did a bombing run 6 months ago that set their nuclear program back a generation, and in that explained to me why nobody else in the administration mentioned a nuclear weapon and only mentioned ballistic missile threats, and why the Pentagon briefed congressional members and said there was no evidence of an imminent strike. And all of that combined to why his highest intelligence officer next to Tulsi Gabbard resigned like 3 weeks ago and said, I resigned because there was no evidence that there was an imminent strike. Can you try to tie some of those pieces together?
I think we have different values of when is it necessary to strike a country. So like, even though they're a year away, as long as they're still actively building a weapon.
It's not, it actually has nothing to do with the values. I don't care about that at the moment. I'm asking you, how does it, or you would agree, yes or no, that the timeline I just laid out from the Trump administration makes no sense? It's confusing.
Yeah, it's a lie. Either they lied or they just don't know what they're talking about.
So let's time out right. Okay. So not knowing what you're talking about when you have 55,000 U.S. troops in the region and U.S. taxpayer-funded missiles are eviscerating school children is not a great scenario to be in. So let's go with, instead of not knowing what they're.
I don't think that's right to say that.
Okay. So then hold on. So then it's not that let's just say for a second, it's not that they are incompetent, when they certainly are, but they're lying. Okay, so that's a massive problem to this whole conversation, because even if we started to disagree about the values of when they're going to get a nuclear weapon, why are they lying? If it was as simple as, okay, they're going to get it eventually, so we're going to strike, why could they not all just align and say that? Why is this so confusing and hard to understand?
Well, I mean, to strategize as a military, you're not going to list every public list of intelligence of what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Of course not, but this is incredibly basic stuff. This is the top administration.
Again, I think we just have different values. I don't think any country who's building a nuclear.
Oh my God! It's just like it really has nothing to do with values at this point. I think
It is.
no,
I think
it's not. It's not. And I also believe that if your value system is any country, like I think that you. Like, why have we not invaded North Korea?
I think they're a joke. I don't.
Okay, no. Stop right there. Stop right there. Your value system is any country who's working toward nuclear weapon. We can't let it happen. Why have we not invaded North Korea?
Well, North Korea is not threatening to.
Okay, but they
do.
So you don't believe that they're trying to build a nuclear weapon? Answer this question. Hold on. Answer this question, yes or no. Is North Korea trying to build a nuclear weapon right now?
They say they already have one.
Okay, so why are we not doing something about it?
They're a joke. Look at South Korea. South Korea's on the border.
The difference. This is the thing about value systems is it doesn't work like, oh, I feel like Iran's not a joke and North Korea's like we're talking about foreign policy like fucking children talk about a fucking baseball game. Okay, this is so stupid. It has nothing to do with value systems. There is no justification for what we did. If there was even close to one, even if the argument was...
When was the last time North Korea sent a ballistic missile into another country?
Into another country? I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. Well, you could go look how many times Iran has sent ballistic missiles into civilian areas in Israel.
That's a completely different subject, or a completely different concept.
Well, you brought it up, so how is it a different subject?
I brought it up because that still doesn't relate to the original value system that you held hold of. If they're trying to build a nuclear weapon, then it is justifiable to send U.S. troops to die. There are families that are going to come back. Again, I would hope that you'd be able to piece this together for the U.S. families who are about to bury their kids. I really hope that you can, because you're doing it. I mean, the Trump administration hasn't even tried. So again, it's even if your argument stood of, okay, they're a year away from a nuclear weapon. It's stunning to me that 5 members of the Trump administration couldn't just come out and say that all together. But they all said different things.
I don't know. I don't have any information more than you.
Yeah, and of course you don't. What I'm trying to push you to do is maybe think a little bit that, hey, maybe the people leading us are incompetent and it's actually not about American safety or Iran building a nuclear weapon. That's what I'm trying to push you to. If you're staring...
Iran is building a nuclear weapon.
Okay,
if you would acknowledge...
if
you would acknowledge that they enrich uranium to 60%, why would you enrich uranium to 60%?
We just did this whole ring around.
We didn't. Have you acknowledged
No, because again, you have refused to acknowledge the idea that you still haven't answered my question about why other administration officials never mentioned a nuclear weapon.
There's only 2, Obama and Biden. So
no. Not other presidents, other administration officials in this administration. Why is Donald Trump, after 2 days, the only top administration official to mention a nuclear weapon? For example, why did Marco Rubio not say anything about them having a nuclear weapon when this strike occurred? Why, when he was
prior to that, he said that Iran has already enriched uranium.
okay? So when he came out after an imminent strike, answered the question. Why did he say it was because Israel was going to strike when he was asked? And then why did other administration officials say because there was a ballistic missile threat? Did you believe there was an imminent ballistic missile threat?
To America? Of course not.
Okay, to other allies in the region.
They already did that.
Okay,
They sent
fantastic. So
drones.
why did those administration officials before Trump, not mention the 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon? And why? And furthermore, why did the Pentagon not?
I mean, at that point, it's not necessary. They're clearly.
I mean,
attacking US
dude, you're just
bases.
like if Donald Trump could go any further up your ass, he'd come out your mouth. You're being so purposely disingenuous. If you actually held the beliefs, I would respect it, and you could go, listen, the administration's incompetent, and I think they have no idea what they're doing. But I have some amount of third-party belief, UN belief, that they're building a nuclear weapon. So I just support eviscerating them off the face of the planet. At least I could have.
first of all, that's
Shut the
just one
fuck up.
part.
Be quiet. I'm speaking. At least I could have some respect for that answer. But this is just like, you're not even trying to be genuine here. It's like every time I ask a very direct question, it's just like the B-2 bomber question. It's so simple. If this is your standpoint, and it's fine that this is your standpoint, then you should say, look, Donald Trump was either wrong or lying about the B-2 bomber raid. Now we're here. Now we're going to fucking send thousands of troops in to die because they're going to get a nuclear weapon. But it's clear that whatever happened in the B-2 bomber raid was wrong. We would be having a much different discussion right now.
Before that ever happened, he already threatened Iran. If you're going to unalive your protesters, we're going to come in. Are you not familiar with that?
I am. I don't believe that Donald Trump cares about protesters. And again, I think it's very, very strange.
Well,
that
did you care about protesters?
Well,
Forget about what
actually, before I answer that question, it's again shocking to me as we talk about voting for Trump, as we have this whole conversation. They're like, the Make America Great Again movement. We were just talking about immigration. You don't want undocumented people here because who gives a fuck about their sob stories? Who cares where they come from? It's not our.
No, they could be documented.
Can I speak? Undocumented people. Who cares if they fled for safety? Who cares all this stuff? Mass deportations now because we need to focus on the American people. And now I'm supposed to believe that you, for example, or Donald Trump care that Iranian protesters are being slaughtered in the streets. You want to spend billions of dollars on to go save the Iranian people? Like, you would obviously understand logically how I would go, what the fuck? That's never been what this movement's about, nor is it about what Donald Trump's about. And furthermore, to answer your question, I do care about protesters. I think based on the other evidence we have about regime change and going in places with no goal, like I think we're kind of doing right now, I actually think it's possible that it leads to far more death and destruction. So I think it's horrible if there are people who are being slaughtered, and I think we should try every effort from a world perspective and a humanitarian perspective to stop that. But I certainly think it's laughable to believe that if the United States enters that conflict to do something about it, that means that there's even a little bit of certainty that it'll lead to less death and destruction. I mean, I remember we did this whole operation, what was it, Rolling Thunder or whatever, and then 1 million Iraqis died. We spent $1 trillion and we got nothing. So that was a situation where we went in. I love Obama. Obama walked into Libya because Gaddafi, there was evidence he was using chemical weapons against his citizens. He was lining up women and children and unaliving them in the back of the head. You know what Libya is right now as we speak? It's an open slave market. It is far worse than it was when Obama went in. It's one of Obama's biggest regrets. He talks about it all the time. Why? Because foreign policy is incredibly complex. And so, like, it's very easy on the surface to say, okay, let's do something about the atrocities going into Iran. But like, for example, we saw in Libya, we could just make things way worse. And so I just think that it's, again, like a very simplistic view to assume that just...
Do you think in the 1953 up until the revolution, do you think Iran was worse off than it is today? After America came in
No.
They were scared of the Soviet Union taking the oil and controlling. Oh, okay. So sometimes it does work then.
Okay, sure. I think you understood the point I was making, though.
And we look at Afghanistan. I mean,
Wait.
Afghanistan is
Wait,
now run
hold
by
on.
Taliban
Wait. I think that was
after
actually an
all
example of... Wait, the question was... I think I misunderstood your question.
I asked you in 1953
Yeah.
when America overthrew...
I would argue they're worse off now.
Okay.
So it doesn't
So
work.
sometimes it does work because were they worse off in 1953 or after 1988?
Yo, chat.
If they're worse off now, it's the regime already changed. I don't understand. That means that what America did before was great. Then they revolt, and now they're doing terrible.
Chat.
Unless I skipped the part before 1953.
No, I understand. I'm my head is hurting. I'm trying to
You think I have a comprehension problem where I'm not able to process information and things are just too difficult to understand?
No, wait, what the no. I actually don't believe that, nor did I ever say that. I just think we're going kind of in circles, and I think that you understood the logical point I was making in the beginning.
Yeah, before you get all frustrated and upset about me,
I'm not.
Well, you look pretty frustrated, but
I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because my head hurts and it's 1:30 in the morning. I don't actually believe that. I mean, I was getting frustrated because I think you're being a little disingenuous, or
I'm not being disingenuous. I'm not.
I think you're engaging. I think you're engaging somewhat in logical fallacies, but I do think you are able to comprehend things. I'm frustrated because we've done the ring around and my head hurts. And Donald Trump, up to this point, has claimed that he has won. We've won in Iran. He's claimed now 14 different times. He's moved the goalpost about when to open the Strait of Hormuz 3 different times. I just don't think the administration has no reason for this. Children are dying. Troops are dying. We've alienated our allies. I think if you're going to write a book in 50 years, it's possible, depending on how this goes, that it would seem like this would be a point of a turning global kind of world order here if the United States continues.
Okay, but your prompt says Trump is the worst, right?
Yep.
So worst for what? America? For Iran? Everybody?
I tend to just believe he's like one of the worst, if not the worst, U.S. president ever. So.
Well, do you think George Washington was a better president?
Yes.
Well, the guy had slaves.
Yeah, I know. I tend to. The part of the reason I have Trump is the worst and nothing more. My prompt used to be Trump is one of the worst presidents, and people would say, Chris, why do you have that? It's partly because I try to be as genuine as I can be online. So I've always said, there's no question Donald Trump's a bottom 5 president. I think that there's an argument to make around a morality question here where, okay, Chris, if George Washington, his bottom teeth were made out of slave teeth, Abraham Lincoln, up until probably the end of the war, didn't even consider the fact that black people were human beings. Are any of these given individuals, I mean, Trump's better than them from a moral perspective. I've always argued that not only am I not really interested in having that discussion about objective morality, I'm probably not well versed on it enough. And I think surely from a perspective of U.S. presidents in any given time trying their best to lead the country toward a better place and have the union survive, that Donald Trump is certainly bottom 5. And I think my reason for that is that on a basic level, he's the most selfish president to ever exist and cares more about himself than anyone else. So, I mean, sure. I mean, I think there's an argument for the fact that, look, George Washington owned slaves. I'm not well-versed enough nor interested enough to, have it.
Yeah, and the guy wrote the Constitution, and in there, a woman couldn't vote.
I know.
So, but anyways, I want to go to Israel because I'm a Zionist. Are you an anti-Zionist?
Wait, before you go there, I actually wanted to say something. Oh, I wanted to bring something up before you go there that I just remembered. Just to interesting concept here because I got cut off from the point about what are we supposed to do about Iran and a nuclear weapon? I'll actually, why don't we just blow them off the face of the planet? I'll give you an example of what to do. This has never been confirmed by the U.S., but I think it's confirmed by literally every other metric. This was originally started under Bush and then extremely accelerated and carried out under Obama. It was a program called Stuxnet, and it was essentially a very covert operation to build a piece of malware that could enter Iranian nuclear facilities and essentially stop them. Obviously enriching uranium is a very complex process. And so you have all these different centrifuges spinning and all this different math and temperatures and blah, blah. And so Stuxnet could essentially invade a situation like this technologically, and once every 3 months, just by the smallest metric, have a centrifuge turn, one too many times, just for a couple seconds, and it would break that centrifuge. And it was very good at hiding, and it was a very impressive piece of malware. The question under the Obama administration is, okay, the Iranian nuclear facilities are underground and they're not connected to the internet. So how the fuck are we going to do this? So Obama, the U.S. actually got a man from Europe who posed as somebody working on like the water filtration, like he was like a water filtration expert, and obviously you have to cool the uranium. They got him on board. They gave him Stuxnet as on a USB drive, and they somehow convinced the Iranians, to hire him to go like to work on their water filtration center. So he got to Iran, got underground in a completely closed facility, and put Stuxnet into Natanz, which is one of the places that Trump bombed. That sent their nuclear program back multiple years, and they would have a record number of centrifuges break over the next 2 years, and they couldn't figure out why. The only reason that it was discovered is because one of the Iranian nuclear scientists had Stuxnet on his computer, didn't know, and then took it outside of the nuclear facility and connected it to the internet, where then it glitched and it took over the entire internet, and cybersecurity people found it, and they said, oh my God, this must have been built by a foreign government, and then the Iranians figured it out, and then it was all over. But that's a great example of people. When you have people who surround you who aren't loyalists and who are competent, you can engage in actions like that to slow down the nuclear program, as opposed to a drunk Fox News host just like bombing the shit out of brown people and like killing everybody. So, to your second question, I really don't want to have this conversation at 1:30 in the morning, but no, I'm not a Zionist.
Okay.
I guess I don't even know. I mean, there's a trillion different definitions of Zionism. What's your definition of Zionism?
Well, I would just say this basics. The example we have today would be fine, even though there's other Jewish countries. There's a Jewish country right outside of Russia. After the communist state, they actually gave them a piece of land, but they all left and went to Israel. You know about that, right?
Yeah. Wait, what was your definition?
There's no definition with me. Just what we have today would be fine. I'm not going to say that any Jewish state would be fine. Just the right for Jews to be able to come back to their land of what they're promised in their Bible would be a good definition. If not, are you against all Zionism or just the Zionist country we have today?
Well, two things. Number one, again, the reason I asked that is because I think everybody has an incredibly different definition of Zionism. People often ask me, do I believe Israel has a right to exist? And I say, my answer to that, and people in the chat are going to freak out, but if you would just let me explain. If the question of are you a Zionist is does Israel have a right to exist, I would say yes. People would say, why, Chris? And I say, does any country have a right to exist? Does the United States have a right to exist? What does right to exist even mean? I mean, the United States doesn't really have a right to exist because we were founded on an enormous amount of sin. Let's say you say, okay, well, Israel doesn't have a right to exist because they were founded on an enormous amount of sin. It's like every country on earth then, I guess, doesn't have a right to exist. My position, regardless of getting into like some semantics about what Zionism is I think that in the context that we're going to have this conversation, most people are going to view this as like a lot of, and I'm not saying this is the right viewpoint, but people are going to view this as like what Israel is doing specifically in the West Bank and the settlements that I think have been violating international law for X amount of time. That's right, Connor. Some amount of time. And I think like their expansion into other places in violation of their own laws often, I think and pushing Palestinians out, I think there's no question that it's violating international law and it's terrible. And I think that certainly the people running Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu and all these people need to be thrown away and locked up the key. And I've certainly in Gaza at this point, looking at Amnesty International, the UN, the two biggest human rights organizations in Israel, I would use the G word here to describe what's going on in Israel. So the way or what's going on in Gaza, the way the current Israeli government is formed, I think it's horrible and it's awful. I mean, if you're looking for somebody to say, I don't think Israel should be.
Can I just cut you off here?
Sure.
Israel only expanded into Palestinian Authority under the British Mandate and under the Ottoman Empire. So who gave Jordan the right to have a state? Because technically all they really did was expand into Jordan, which is also who gave Jordan the right to have a country, right?
Okay.
So I don't really understand what's going on with your logic here. Who gave Jordan the right to exist?
Well, okay. Well, that was I actually feel like this is partly to my point, which is that like I think this whole conversation on the internet can be a little bit, unfortunately, ridiculous. But like, I don't believe that my position is as follows. Okay, I'm gonna make it really simple. I think people should live where they live, and they should stop. We should, as a society, stop trying to take other people's land. Okay, every country on the face of the planet was founded in some amount of sin. If the definition, I believe that Israel has a right to exist. I think their government is insane. I don't think that they should be. I certainly don't think they should be expanding into the West Bank. Again, you're going to start this conversation of, well, who has the right to that land, et cetera. I think if people are living there, then the people in Israel should not live there, and their position should not be, okay, well, we have a right to this land because we just have it, and we have, we can just take it because we want it. I think that's bad. I think it violates international law. It's pretty simple. I think most people, and I'll say this, I think most people online right now, even amongst the left, have kind of sputtered into madness when it comes to this issue, and people don't like me for this. But when I hear all this crazy shit about, like the state of Israel and like dismantling it and all of this stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, let's just, foreign policy is very complex. I think Israel can have a functioning democracy and government that actually, cares about Palestinian lives. It certainly does not have that now. And I think Benjamin Netanyahu was like, again, he's like a horrible guy. But I'm not sure that I have the brain power or capacity to get into an entire conversation about 1948 and previous, as much as I actually love you and respect you. Bad.
Okay, so you just don't want to talk about it?
Yeah. I got a cycle. It's 2 a.m. I got a cycle.
Okay. All right. Well, have a good night. I don't want to.
All right. Well, I appreciate you being I appreciate you being respectful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Same to you. Likewise.
I certainly wasn't respectful at certain points. I was getting angry, but I appreciate you rocking with me getting angry.
I mean, people come on here and attack you all the time, so it's a habit. You can't get rid of that.
I can work on it.
You're ready to get attacked.
I work on it. I appreciate it. Okay. Well, yeah, guys, honestly, I don't have the capacity for this conversation, but also, I'm sorry. I just don't like when people... The definition of Zionism has completely and totally shattered. Like, everybody has just, like, crazy definition. Again, I feel like this is an issue that, like, I feel like Israel is, like, can, like, have a government that's, like, a democracy and is, like, normal. It does not have that right now, and it's violating international law. There's no question of what's going on in Gaza, obviously. But certainly in the West Bank, like, you're just, like, expanding into, like, settlements, so. But... Also, as I've said to the previous person who, like, when we start down this path, like, I just think, like, all of this lately is super depressing to me because anti-Semitism is, like, exploding in this country in a way we've never seen. And it's all sides of the political aisle at this point. And it's partly why this issue, I just, like, sit in this very, like, what I feel like is a normal, nuanced place. And then everyone else, I feel like on the left, I've kind of, like, lost. I'm just, like, backed off because I'm just like, okay, I don't know. I feel like I see a lot of, and again, people in the comments are going to go, Chris, anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, of course. But me personally, I just believe the left has been like a lot of content creators have started using anti-Semitic tropes that I think they don't realize they're using. I think this whole thing has, like, become so just sad and insane. And I just, like, I don't know. I don't know that I have a capacity at 2 a.m. to, like, have a discussion about it. Yo, Dark Sunray, thanks for sending me a gift. I appreciate you 100%. $5. Here's for Celsius or whatever need be. We're all behind you. Thanks for keeping us in the loop. Thanks for your genuine heart and education. Yo, can we get a W's in the chat for Dark Sunray? $5. I actually appreciate you a lot. I appreciate you so much. Genuinely. It means a lot. What was I going to say? Yeah, I said this on the last live. And again, I want to be clear. I've used the G word to describe Gaza. I've given my reasoning behind that. And I certainly believe Benjamin Netanyahu is only doing whatever he's doing for his own self-preservation. I think that was Biden's standpoint, and I agree with it. With that being said, what was I going to... I just think on TikTok, I've just been, like, stunned on some things that I see. Like, I talked about this last time, the Palestinian News Network. They're a guy who's always in D.C., he's in the Capitol. Obviously, anyone can just, like, go, it's the people's house, go in the Capitol. And he films random people in suits. Sometimes they're just, like, chiefs of staff of, like, some Republican. And he'll be like, Israel or Palestine. And then people get all nervous, and then the videos blow up, right? And that's it. And I saw one of these videos recently, really blew up, and it was a chief of staff of like some Republican or like a staffer, some Republican congressman in Tennessee. And this dude, he was like do you support Israel? And the guy was like, yes, I think that you should essentially take Gaza and like blow it off the face of the planet. It was a horrible answer, okay? And the video had tons of likes, okay? And everyone's like, wow, look at this fucking piece of shit. The thing is, so many of the comments, and I showed some of the screenshots last time. You got top liked comments, liked, quote, and it was crazy to me not see a lot of pushback on this. Quote, maybe we owe the German guy an apology. What the fuck is going on? Why? It's kind of distressing to see that as like the top like comment on a video, and everyone is just like hanging out in this atmosphere, commenting and like having a good time, and that's just like the top like comment. And then the next comment is like, you know, something like super anti-Semitic, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on right now? And it's partly why I feel like I've struggled to occupy any of that space, because I'm just like, bro, this is like an anti-Semitic like mess. And again, anti-Zionism is not the same as anti-Semitism. I know. But it is undeniable that anti-Semitism is everywhere, all like, I could not imagine being a Jewish American right now. I literally, like, it sounds fucking terrifying. So that's all I'm trying to say. And that's why I'm just like, I have these discussions and I can quickly, there's the amount of anti-Semitic tropes are like nuts. Like the first dude, start talking, both sides are bad. Israel controls our politicians. And in my head, I go, here we go. And then literally 5 sentences later, this dude is like, yeah, that's because the Jews control the... And I'm like, dude, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck is going... Anyways, the other thing I was going to say, someone in the chat asked me, how do I feel about Hassan? I know there's been like a lot of Hassan discourse. I think like, and maybe this is me tooting my own horn. I like to... this is me... That was kind of cringe, too, man. This is me like being kind of... Like, I'm not trying to act cool here. I'm trying to be, like, genuine when I say this. I feel like, unlike a lot of other content creators, especially in the debate space, there's just certain... I try to be more, like, down to earth with some stuff. So when, like, Hassan's trending for 2 weeks and everyone's, like, screaming about it, I'm like, bro, who gives a fucking fuck, okay? There's literal Nazis on the street. Like, I'm just, like, Hassan... Everyone's like, should Democrats go on Hassan's stream? I'm like, dude, I don't know, bro. I'm trying to fucking make rent and, like, do this shit, whatever, bro. But I do have a few thoughts. And actually, my thoughts around Hassan, which I'm still kind of collecting for a variety of reasons, because I don't love the guy, and I never really have loved the guy. I mean, he's fine. He does good work. He's obviously a big voice. Actually, and a lot of my problems with him don't actually necessarily come from the issue that people would expect, which is everyone's like... Israel and Gaza. I really don't like his opinions and how he frames Ukraine and Russia, and generally how it can feel at some points that like his entire view, like there's a clip of him, someone was like, what do you think about Russia? What do you think about Crimea? And Hassan was like, I call Crimea Russian territory, you fucking bitch. How about Crimea River? That's Russian territory now. And it's like, all right. And then that I guess would be on the side of people being like, he's anti-American, he's all this stuff. I do think people like I really do think that there's like an effort to take him out of context. Like I don't think he's a bad guy, but I do think there's always like these efforts to like make him sound like someone he's not. I don't think he's bad faith on the issue of Gaza, but I just think like when you kind of start to wrap his worldview, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And that's people say, okay, his worldview is America bad, like, and that's why he's supporting these different like. It's like why he's so against Israel, and it's like, well, that's not really great. I mean, Israel is right. What's going on in Israel right now? But I see that logically far more when I hear him talk about Ukraine and Russia. I mean, he's been effectively cheering for Russia the whole war, and it's partly because he just believes, like, I think how he would probably phrase it, like the American empire is just like a death machine and a war cult, which. I think his opinion would then be, okay, yeah, America's done like a lot of really fucking horrible things and keeps getting involved in places and getting all these people killed. So I want to like stop that from happening. I don't know. The answer is that like it's nuanced. Hassan's fine. I've never really liked him. He played one of my TikToks one time on my stream and was like, this kid's he was like, oh my fucking God, it's another DNC fucking bot who gets paid. Fuck this kid. He's a loser. And I was like, all right, well, whatever. What a guy. We are the world police. The question is, should we be? Never liked Hassan, Phoebe said. That's interesting. Why is that? Dude, I can't believe there's 1,000 people in here. It's 2 in the morning, bro. I've got to go to bed. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for $2 on PayPal. I'm gonna butcher this really badly. Yowisha, maybe? Yoisha? I'm so sorry. I really appreciate you though. Oh wait. What the fuck? I'm so sorry. Oh, it's 2 different people. I apologize. Yoisha, thank you so much for $2. I was like, it just changed to Joseph. I'm like, bro, am I like going crazy? Hey, can you and Harry, yo, could we get a million W's for, again, you, YEHOSHUA. I guess it's like Joshua. Maybe it's Joshua. Maybe it's literally Joshua, but I can't read. Thank you so much for $2. Genuinely, it means a lot. Hey, can you and Harry go live again? I haven't seen him live in years. I really loved his lives. Here's the donation. Yo, thank you so much. You know what? I will let Sister know that. I call him all the time. We talk about this. He got pretty burnt out on live. And now he doesn't do it. But I've pushed him a few times. He got on a panel a few weeks ago and actually admitted he had a lot of fun. So, I'll push him. Yeah. W. I really appreciate you. And then this from Joseph. Thank you so much for $2. Heritage Foundation data showing 1,400 verified fraud votes out of 1.2 billion votes cast since 2000. Produces an approximate voter fraud rate of 0.001166%. Can we get a million W's for Joseph in the chat? Fucking beautiful. I appreciate you pulling. Can't argue with the Heritage Foundation, not with these individuals. Again, exactly. Literally exactly. Like, there's no evidence of it. It doesn't exist. Thank you so much for that support. It really means the world. You're very kind. You're so kind. Oh, my goodness. Jack and Piper's mom. We got to get a million W's. Been one of my strongest supporters for so long. Great mod. A great individual. Jack and Piper's mom, I love you. I hope you're doing well. It's been a while. $10 on Venmo. That's unbelievably kind. I hope everything's going well. Hope you're flying. Well, I know it's been a mess. Love you, Chris. Get a Celsius. I love you. I appreciate you so much. Truly. I mean it. And I will. Get some W's in the chat. Thank you so much. You're so kind, Jack Piper's mom. Genuinely. I don't take that for granted. You're the best. Oh, my goodness. And then Bren. Another amazing mod. Jack Piper's mom and Bren. The best. There's Jack Piper's mom. Truly been so supportive for so long. I never, ever take it for granted. I'm so lucky, man. I'm so lucky. $5 from Bren. Thank you so much. I fully support Chris and Harry live. Let's go. I'll push him to make that happen, dude. Bren, thank you so much. Horns up. I have to respond to you. God, fuck. I completely forgot. I'm so sorry. I'm actually going to do that. I promise I'm going to do that. I'm really sorry, Bren. I'm really sorry. I literally opened that, and then I was like, I was about to start reading it, and something happened. I remember this vividly. And then I completely forgot. I'm genuinely so sorry. Now, that's actually rude of me. I apologize. Oh, you're the best, though. I appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. I miss you. Yo, Jackie, be safe. You're the best. 381 likes. Dubs, like the stream if you're over on YouTube. Oh, my God. Chat, do you think we can... Should we keep going at 2 in the morning? Dude. I was doing so good. I was going to bed every day at like 12:30. Fuck. I got this shirt, though. It says, "Immigrants make America great." What do y'all think? Hayden, good to see you. Keep it going. All right, give me one. I'll go for a few. I'll go for a bit longer. But you guys got to show some love, dude. You guys got to show some love. If I'm going to go a bit longer, show some love. Show some love. Kimmy, I appreciate you. Oh, okay. Give me 1 sec. Hold up. Oh. Where is it? Ain't no way. I might be high, but it ain't okay. I got one more in. Come on, man. That's the weed. Alright, chat. I fucking got this. I believe in myself. I believe in myself to succeed in this environment. We're gonna keep doing debates. If it's what the people want, it's what the people will get. Listen. I need everyone's help, though. I fuck up my sleep schedule. My girlfriend's gonna say, Chris, what happened? I need you guys. I need your support, and I need you guys to say for the kids and the troops. That's why I did it. And also, I got this. Let's rock and roll here. While MAGA's talking to me, get ready here for this. All right, if you're a Trump supporter, you can request up. Let me lean this chair back, bro. I'm going to bed. I'll just listen to someone. I'll debate someone and complete. I can't see anything. Oh, there we go. What the fuck? I bet chat. All right. I don't know where my camera is. Where are my earbuds? Oh, dude, this is actually kind of fucking. Dude, I could rock this right here. Get a Trump supporter up here. This is how I wind down. Doctor's like, no blue light, Chris. He's trying to fix the sleep schedule. All right, I'll debate for 30 minutes without looking at shit. I just need a Trump supporter here, and I'll just be like locked in like this. Okay, holy shit, I can actually. Wow, it's way bright. All right. I'm locked in. No, I'm locked in. Chad, actually, I promise you, I'm gonna keep going, but I don't have that much in me. He said, "Come on, Chad." Yo, Mike Collins, I appreciate it. Melissa, I need to do it, but my face shape, all glasses look dumb on me. What's my face? Is my face shape oval? Hello? My face shape oval, chat. What type of glasses? I need some Cartier blue light glasses. Fuck this bullshit. Let's just go crazy on this on the TikTok live stream. Let me invest. If we all send Chris $1, he'd have $1,000. I like the way D Grant thinks. I like the way. No, you guys are kind. There's never any pressure, bro. Let's get, bro. I'm trying to. This. All right, Chad. We're okay. There we go. Hello. All right. Elizabeth. If you're a Trump supporter, let me know. You know who's sleeping? Bro, please. What? Where'd I get the shirt? Nah, I'm gonna be fully honest. I got it on TikTok shop, which is kind of bad. I mean, it's not bad, but I've been kind of low-key ordering shit off TikTok. Well, I ordered something else off TikTok shop too. I bet I could attach to link right now and like make commission on that. I could attach the fucking where I got this, and then I get all this commission if you bought it. I'm not gonna do that because I don't do it for the money. Okay, I do it because I care. I do it for the kids and the troops. But I actually did find this on TikTok shop though, and I was just like, all right, fucking, it's like $9 or something. I got $9 to my name. Come on, I'm an adult now. Shop is honestly clutch. No, shop is nice. Like, don't. If you're a Trump supporter, let me know. Okay, but nobody. I feel like no. Didn't we talk? Didn't we talk? Didn't we?
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. Didn't we talk?
We did. You said I could come up next live
Why did I say that?
because you're a kind person.
But like, what were we gonna talk about? Like, was there a subject that I was just like, nah, or was I just like, oh, like next time I got you?
We were going to debate specific policy rather than overall supporting Donald Trump.
Okay.
Because you're a very kind person. I think you would be down to do that.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, I guess I would say like when it comes to immigration, I'd say I'm pro mass deportations.
Okay. Why's that?
I think economically it can benefit the lower income jobs in the people who work those low income jobs in our society.
Why?
Well, here's the thing. When you mass deport, right, what it does is in these low income jobs, what it does is it creates a tightening in the labor market. When you have this tightening in the labor market, what it'll do is not only will it bring in more jobs for US citizens, but also will increase wages in those areas. So, that's another thing. Obviously, also the main thing is that, you're obviously illegally crossing the southern border, which, we have laws that we have to enforce here in the United States. I would prefer if somebody came in through the legal process. Obviously, I think me and you could agree that that the legal process should be easier.
The legal process should definitely be easier. We can agree on that standpoint. I think to the first point, and again, like I think this would depend at what scale, because I think that like Donald Trump is not achieving what I think most people would believe to be mass deportations.
I would agree, 100%. That's why I'm not pro GOP.
Okay. And I mean, and I don't want that. I want it to be clear that I certainly think ICE is doing horrible, awful, terrible things, and they're violating court orders, and we're seeing like immigration operate in a way we have not seen before. But I think purely from a numbers standpoint, if I was to the first point, I think if you actually carried out this huge program, regardless of, I guess, the morals of it, I think it's actually possible in this scenario that low-income workers get hurt by this. And I would usually argue this from when you talk about the labor market. I mean, we've had a shrinking labor market for a while, and I think that was really exacerbated in 2020 under COVID. Boomers started retiring at a rate of 2 to 1 compared to the average new worker coming into the labor market. And right now there is just, if you were to go jobs 1 to 1 to the American worker, there are not enough native-born U.S. workers to work every single job. And I think that several economists, and I'd be happy to pull up something around this, would certainly cite that one of the reasons at the time we were able to recover the fastest from COVID as economically is a lot because of a lot of the migration that we had, which propped up a labor market that otherwise, because of boomers retiring at a rate of 2 to 1 compared to new worker, could have very easily really started to fall apart. And so I say all this because I actually think there's a scenario where if you carry out a mass deportation program, you would end up with with not enough people in the labor force. You could end up in a scenario where U.S. businesses can't find workers, and then they're going under. And when they go under, because let's say some amount of their labor force was undocumented people, they go under and then lay off their American workforce, which obviously leads to American workers being hurt, specifically possibly low-income workers. So that's number one. I certainly think that like it would be in a labor market that's already challenging for a variety of reasons. I think it would add a dynamic that's really not needed with our labor shortage, and then on top of that, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure off the top of my head about the evidence around wages, but the last thing I'd say is I think undocumented people, immigrants as a whole, but also undocumented people, really help our debts and deficits. And I think that saves American taxpayers money in that standpoint. And when we talk about low-income workers, obviously paying a share of their income, most of their income most of their spending is on actual physical goods, meaning a lot of their taxes through sales tax, and then they're giving away a large portion of their or a large portion of their check to the federal government. I think that the most recent Cato Institute study showed that undocumented people saved American workers like some absurd amount of money, like $2 trillion or something, on interest on debt since 1994. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. And so I think that low-income people would technically be spending more of their money in this instance on their taxes instead of going to things like roads and bridges. It would be going a larger share of it would be going toward interest on debt, because that's the, I don't know, second or third largest expenditure right now for the American government.
Okay, yeah. So I'll respond to. I think there were three main things that I kind of want to tackle there. I would think about undocumented people contributing a lot to the economy. I will concede to that in a large sense. However, when it comes to we have to remember that they're coming in, and the jobs that they're competing for are typically low income jobs, right? So it does actually benefit maybe the middle class, upper middle class, higher ends of our society. Even you go back to the 1980s or even before Trump. We had most conservatives were pro mass amnesty. Why? Because it's good for business, right? In a lot of senses. And I think when it comes to wages, but we also have to talk about the people, the entire field of these jobs, which are, we have to remove the idea that Americans do not want to work these jobs. Americans do, and in fact, when they did a study, when undocumented immigrants come to the United States, they show the fields that they work in, right? And those fields that when undocumented immigrants come here and they work are actually mainly dominated by U.S. citizens, right? And then, obviously we can get into the wages, right? Like if you go back to COVID, for example, a lot of fast food industries were were offering things like $25 an hour pay, right? Because there was a crazy shortage in the labor market. It's more going to hurt big business rather than, the average employee, because their salaries are going to go up. And then, in regards to, not having enough people, again, I think that there's an argument to be made there, but I think, the solution is obviously we can critique Trump all night. But I think that the main solution is do something like Bill Clinton did in the early 2000s, where he said, okay, well, let's have a lot more work visas, let's make the legal process easier. So I think, that's a better route. And I think still mass deportations are necessary, even just purely from breaking the law, even disregarding an economic standpoint.
Well, I mean, to the last point about, certainly making legal immigration easier and work visas, et cetera, like, great, fantastic. I think, what was I going to say? Sorry. Jesus, God. Well,
Please
then,
don't use the Lord's name in vain,
so, what?
my dear friend. Please don't use the Lord's name in vain, my dear friend.
My bad.
You're good.
Sorry, it's just that threw me through a loop. I lost my train of thought. I was going to say, so when you say you're not pro GOP anymore, like, can you just elaborate on that for a second? I just want to go back to that for a second so I understand.
The Republican Party I've never really been pro GOP. But I think now, especially, I have a lot of critiques when it comes to ICE, but, I think it comes from a morality standpoint of, the GOP is supporting, this G-side in Gaza, right? I'm typically a conservative. I have conservative values, but however, I cannot support, something like that. And the way ICE is going about it, I have a problem too with the pro-ICE movement, where they complain a lot about ICE, but I don't think a lot of them actually know the specific policies that are wrong in ICE. Like here, I could name a couple, right? Like, for example, ICE has to meet a certain arrest quota per day, right? So, at the end of the day, right, they haven't arrested enough people. And so that actually leads to a lot of, racial stereotyping, or what's it called? It's not stereotyping, it's racial profiling, right? And then another thing is, they complain like, oh, well, there's a bunch of protests. And well, here's the thing, you're announcing where you're going to do the ICE raids. How is that efficient for deportations? And then second thing is, you're mad that protesters showed up. Well, dude, you just announced where you're going to do it. So, I think they're completely justified in firing, doing all the firings that they did.
Got it. Sorry, wait, really quickly. Bro.
The girl Kara in chat, I said one swear word.
Really quickly, Deb, thank you so much for $10 on the YouTube Super Chat. I actually appreciate you so much, truly. Never take that for granted, ever. I hope everybody knows that. I never, I just do this for fun, and the fact that people would be willing to even support in any way monetarily means the world to me, and I really do mean that. I don't take this for granted, and in any field, whether it's politics or debates or just fucking people doing whatever on TikTok Live, I get kind of sick and fucking tired of seeing a lot of creators who take for granted like gifts or donations. I'm sorry about. I feel like I usually do better about the gifts on my phone, but on TikTok Live I kind of miss on desktop I miss them. But I just want to say that genuinely, like, I know that's things are expensive right now, and the fact that you would support in any type of way like that means so fucking much to me. I know I say it all the time. I know people get tired of me saying it over and over, but I mean it. So thank you so much, Deb, truly, for $10. It means a lot. The lump of labor fallacy is the misconception that there's a fixed amount of work in an economy, and that if one person takes a job, it reduces available jobs. That idea has been debunked. The lump of labor. Yo, can we get some W's for Deb over? Deb's a genius. Come on, hold up a second. Hold up. Lump of labor fallacy. Let me just hold on a second. Is the mistaken belief that there is a fixed limited amount of work, a lump, available in the economy. This zero-sum thinking falsely suggests that automation or immigrants steal jobs, whereas in reality, new workers and technology increase productivity, income, and overall demand, creating new jobs. Yo, can we get some W's for this guy in the chat? It's actually pretty interesting. I have to look into that. I appreciate you. You're the fucking goat. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Sorry to this guy here. Also, oh my God, you guys are... Carol, thank you so much for $5 on Venmo. Again, same thing here. genuinely means a lot that you would support in that way. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for speaking what is true to you. That takes bravery, especially on SM. We appreciate you, Chris. SM. Chat, help me. That's definitely something that's really easy to understand. SM. What is it? SM. Oh, on social media.
Reaching UNC status, not understanding abbreviations.
This dude just called me old. Is that what you're saying? I'm sorry. I'm actually really sorry. Can we get $1 million for Carol? I actually appreciate that so much. Thank you for speaking what's true to you. That takes bravery. We appreciate you, Chris. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Tries to be the core aspect of my content creation. I kind of accidentally fell into this field, and I've always just said I want to be as authentic as I can be. So thank you so much, truly, from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate that. And Donna, $10 on Venmo. You guys are unbelievably kind. Holy shit. Let's get it started. I'll do the first $10. Love you, Chris. Yo, Donna, you're literally fucking amazing. I think you're referring to the $1 comment earlier. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, truly. Can we get $1 million W's for Donna? What a great name. $10. Love you, Chris. I love you. You're amazing. Hope you're having a good night. People gotta get sleep. People gotta get sleep soon. Yeah, Ozzy's right, Chris. You're too tired. Get some sleep. I'm getting there. I'm not gonna lie. But we're keeping the brain power going. I appreciate each and every one of you. You're fucking amazing, especially over on the YouTube side of things. Baby Uncle. Well, okay. So this individual, not pro GOP, says there's G side, mass deportation question mark. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
And it sounded like you were pretty religious. Yo, Nikki, I think. Thank you so much for the hand raise. Or Nick? Dude, this is getting bad, chat. I'm like, my brain is starting to melt. You're religious?
I am.
Would you identify yourself as very religious?
I'd say I'm practicing. I'd say there's things I need to improve on myself when it comes to my religion, but I'm deeply involved in my faith. I'm Catholic.
Interesting. Okay. And so you obviously I know you said you don't really you're anti-Trump. I think you don't believe that Trump is a good human or believes the thing he says.
No, and I believe that the things that Israel does are very anti-religious in a lot of sense. This is just a little spew of knowledge here. They're very anti-Christian and very anti-Catholic in Israel. I don't know. A lot of people don't know this. Around 4 or 5 years ago, they tried to ban the gospel in Gaza. Did you know that? They closed down, and just recently they closed down the biggest Christian Catholic church in Israel on Palm Sunday. So to anybody who is religious in the chat, I don't think that you can be in support of Zionism, be in support of Donald Trump. That's kind of it.
So you're just a Republican out in the world trying to. Do you think you'll vote for Republicans in the midterms?
No.
Do you think you'll vote for Democrats?
That would be tough too. I don't see them as a very moral religious party either.
Why? Just not focus enough on the things that are core to your religion? That was a dumb question. Did that make sense?
It did not. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Why? Sorry. Why not Democrats in the midterms?
I don't think that they are. Oh, first of all, I think a lot of Democrats in Congress are also very pro-Israel, also very pro-Zionism. I'm also somebody who's very pro-life. I'd say, which doesn't align with a lot.
This guy is the definition of politically homeless, dude. I'm actually just sorry. Continue.
Is that an insult?
No. It was supposed to be.
I know.
I was supposed to be being lighthearted.
Okay. Well, no, I don't think that they would align with my values either.
Okay.
All right. I have a question. Are you a Christian or are you?
I would define myself as not religious.
Non-religious, agnostic, sort of.
I think agnostic is a good definition.
Okay. I used to be agnostic at a certain point in my life. I think I turned more to to Christianity.
Why is that?
Catholicism. I think it was overall learning about the history of my religion. I think it was getting closer to God, going to church. I know maybe you weren't the biggest fan of him, but Charlie Kirk got me back into my religion a little bit, I'd say, during my younger years. So,
How old are you
yeah,
now?
I'm 18.
Oh, during your younger years? Okay.
Yeah, well, 16.
Well, no, I'm not. Again, that's not me attempting to be like. I just was surprised. I thought like the way you said that, I was just like, okay, my guy's like 30, but that's a good thing. You're well spoken for 18. I mean, fuck, dude, I'm 24. You sound like a dumbass.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I started like my own like kind of channel. I've been doing a lot of debates recently on TikTok. Shout out my boy Bentley Mile Politics. Encourage everybody to go follow him.
Bentley Mile. Okay. Well, listen, I know that this was a short discussion and you've been here for a while, which I apologize for skipping over. And I'm going to do the same thing to you again. Even though we had a little bit of a discussion, it's 2:19 in the morning and I'm exhausted. But
3:19 in the morning here.
3:19, so you need to go to bed. But I do appreciate you being respectful. Maybe next time we can have a conversation around abortion. Maybe we can bring up a woman, and if you'd like to have a conversation.
That'd be lovely.
Cool.
You have a nice night. Real quick before I go, do you mind if I like plug myself a little bit or no?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would encourage everybody to look at my bio. There's a link for my channel in there. Name my channel. I just encourage it, if you're a conservative, maybe more of a moderate conservative, I encourage you to look at my channel.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Cool.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice night.
Thanks, man. Be safe. Be safe. Someone said, Chris, you're too nice. Can I just be honest real quick, chat? This is actually, Chris can be too nice. So honest right here. So honest. Chris, like everyone knows, people are like, Chris, you're too nice. This is not me being too nice. This is actually me like genuinely like my last leg of like can we hold up a second? Can we get some W's for Melissa in the chat? Chris is genuine and I love it. Melissa, I love you. And I try so fucking hard to be the most genuine person I am. The people who have met me, people who recognize me in public, people are like, you're literally the exact same. And I'm like, that's what I try to be, okay? So I actually fucking appreciate that, especially because, like I said about the money, people not being grateful. It's also just like, I'm just tired of seeing people online all the time in every space that are just like living a life that they don't believe or isn't them, or espousing values that they don't actually believe. Man, I have a lot of tea on this field. I keep to myself, so I keep my circle small. But also just generally, just in life, social media needs to be more authentic. So I actually really appreciate that. But back to the last person, I'm actually going to answer this genuinely. I am too nice often. This was not me being too nice. My brain is like melting right now. And okay, that kind of sounds like painful. I feel like I say that when like I have like a really bad headache. My brain is not melting. I'm so tired. Like I'm completely out. And this always happens to me very suddenly, especially on debates. But debates do take a good amount of brain power. I don't know how long we've been live. It's 2:21. I think I went live at like 11:30, 12:30. So not long, 3 hours. I know people be like doing this for like 7 hours. I couldn't imagine it, but it's always like I'll hit a point where I'm just like, I can't, like I'm so like my brain's like, nah, we're done. And I'm listening to what people are saying, and it's taking like an incredible amount of active focus to listen and then process and respond. And so in that scenario, that dude was not screaming at me and he was speaking, and I just didn't have the energy to be like, oh, bro, all right, get out, do stuff. He was nice. But then, I know, the pro-life, and we're going to get a woman up here to talk to that guy. But I am too nice, too. Dude, empathy is fucking, like, this shit, it makes no sense, okay? It fucking bothers me. The whole too nice thing bothers me every day of my life, okay? I make a video, I'm so mad. I'm angry, I'm furious. I'm like, these fuckers will be seen as no different as the people who seceded from the Union. Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, MAGA, these individuals, or I get on live, some 20-year-old kid is pissing away our democracy because he doesn't give a fuck. Somebody's coming up here, they want to be like, I don't support abortion because women use it as birth control. They know nothing about the maternal mortality rate. Like these are giving examples of things that like really just like infuriate me, and I get super worked up. And then right after I'm like so worked up and I'm just like, bro, fuck this. And I get angry. and some dude is like talking some fucking bullshit about Trump. And I'm like, bro, fuck you. You're doing all stuff. And then right after I feel terrible. I feel bad. And I'm like, oh man, like that kid was probably I'll tell you my exact thought process. Then I'll be like, oh man, like that 19-year-old kid was probably like trying his best. And like, he's probably a good dude at heart and he just doesn't understand. Maybe I want to talk to him better. And then I think, well, that's probably really easy for you to say, Chris, genuinely, because you're a straight white male. So it's pretty easy to lead with a lot of empathy and be like, oh, that dude talking about like abortion or Trump, sexually abusing women, the things he says about women. It's probably really easy for you to be like, oh, I feel bad for yelling at him. He's probably a good kid when you're not the one being fucking talked about, and I can't even, and then I try to put myself in the shoes, but that's not possible, right? I'm not a woman. Like I can't, those are not things that I can. So then I'm just like, oh man, maybe I'm being like fucking selfish by being too empathetic to this person because I'm not putting myself in another person's shoes. And then that thought process just spirals all day long. I don't know the answer. I try my best. I get mad. I feel bad about getting mad. And then I'm like, I'm a bad person. That's a good person. And then I'm like, wait, maybe that's not a good person. Maybe I'm taking, this is like the leftist, like, or the liberal, like moral, like the white savior, like white dude, fucking, I'm the liberal. I'm going to save all the women, complex. Someone said OCD. I do have that. It would be, that's part of the reason that goes around and around. Newbie here, what's up? Great video you posted today. Thank you, Carrie. I actually appreciate that. I saw your comment. You're the best. Go get some W's for Carrie. Thanks for being an amazing mod. You're amazing. Great show, man. Yo, Billy Brown. I actually appreciate you so much. Yo, Lunar, you're very kind. $2. I've said before, you're a role model kids need now. Dark Sunray, that's very kind. That's very kind. That might make my father chuckle. And my father and I have like a great relationship for the record. That's not me being like, oh, my dad thinks I'm a bad guy. It's just like, my dad has seen me be. I'm kind of a goofball, and I'm a little out there sometimes. So he would be like, oh, I'm not sure, but that's fun. Dark Center, I actually really appreciate $2. That means a lot, seriously. Genuinely, as a former conservative evangelical, I can say that guest is on a good track. He just needs time. Oh wait, what is this? Dude, I'm totally down. I'm always trying. DM me, and I can send my number too to make it easier. Ryan. Oh, bro. Yeah, Ryan, I will DM you. I'm gonna have you send dude, let's go golf. Let's actually go golf. Just don't kill me. I mean, I've seen your content. You make content. You won't kill me, hopefully. Yo, Dark Sunner, thank you again for $2. Chris, serious question. If the Bible is proven to be true, would you follow it? Alyssa, $5 on YouTube Super Chat. I actually really appreciate $5. That means the world. We need some W's for Alyssa. If the Bible was proven to be true, would I follow it? Yeah. Yeah, I guess, right? The logical answer to that is yes. If the Bible was proven to be true. Yeah, right? I guess. I feel like there's a lot of questions that I have around that though. True in what way? There's a lot of interpretations to the Bible. So it's like what interpretation is true? I don't know, dude. I'm getting canceled. Just kidding. Taylor, you're the best. Thanks for being a great mod. I'm mixed. I have these same convos. No, it's actually hard. I don't even know. Free will, kiddo. That's true. Chill, Chris. You're fine. Jason, you're the best. I appreciate you. It would all depend on the interpretation. No, that's I don't know. Because what if it's the Bible's true? God be like, Jesus be like, yo, love people. I'd be like, all right, sick. I want to love people. But then what if it's the Bible's real? We gotta go kill people and shit and take over land. Then I'd be like, I don't want to do this, bro. But then I guess if that version's proven to be true, then I'd have to rethink my whole moral structure. Then I'd be like, oh, fuck, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is the right thing to... No, I don't think I can do it. Emma, good night. Yeah, too complex. Yep. How about I become a nun? ¿Qué? ¿De dónde eres, Roberto? Hola, me llamo Chris. Voy a la playa con mis amigos y bebo cerveza. What the hell? Are you scared of unrealness? He's alive. Go debate him. Who? Jason. No chance. Sorry. Listen, no hate. I'm sure you can hoop. No chance. Learn a new Spanish catchphrase. That one's never been uttered by me. I have no idea what you're talking about, Alex. It's good to see you, by the way. Can we get some W's for Alex? Dude's the goat. Houday. That's right, Houday. Desi, I need to. Desi, it's good to see you. We go to sleep if we start spamming bread. Go to bread. Jackie said go to bread and then put a bread emoji. You know what? Okay, I will. All right, listen, I'm going to end on YouTube and then I'll quickly end on TikTok after that. To the YouTube chat, I love you. You're amazing. You can, if you're on TikTok too, you can re-watch the TikTok, or you can rewatch this entire debate stream on YouTube. The first 30 minutes of it are silent from the guest perspective. I might edit that out, but go check it out and check out my YouTube channel if you haven't. And to everyone in the YouTube chat, Dark Sunray, the mods over there, Jackie, I know some Maori Squad members, also Alyssa. I know there's several other people I can't see all the way up in my chat who are so kind enough to donate monetarily. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. You're the best. Tia, thanks for being a Maori Squad member. I love all of you in the YouTube chat. You guys have been so supportive. I think 3 YouTube videos coming tomorrow. So you're the best. Cerveza, I understood. Well, beer, it's a good thing. All right, I love you guys on YouTube. I'll be on TikTok for just a bit longer. Mwah. Be safe.